Bring you guys in. Hello and welcome to the Astropub, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the Astropub. This is the Captain's Table, a community podcast of Star Citizen, where I bring people from around the community to talk about the game and generally just be stupid. So this is a place where we hang out and do our things. But before we get started, I want to go around and introduce everyone. At the head of the table, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who is the body, literally the body, for the male character in Star Citizen. He is the model that created the nude naked male that Sean Tracy will not shut up about. Board Gamer UK, how are you, Board?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty ripped at the moment. I've been training for some more mocap.
More mocap, yeah. I would say your facial animations are very expressive in the game now. It's very obvious, you know.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've been doing the female model as well.
Have they finally kicked Twerk out of the female model? Is it now all?
Yeah, he wasn't as endowed as
So, Board, who are you? What do they find you? All that kind of stuff.
I'm Board Gamer. You can find me pretty much anywhere that says Board Gamer UK on all the social medias and Twitch and YouTube. And I am a almost entirely dedicated Star Citizen YouTuber. I just stream a bit of everything. I do play other games. I really like Star Citizen for my YouTube channel. It's fun. It's good.
I saw you even promote a little bit of Hellion there for a bit.
I mean, I tried to promote Hellion, but there were some issues with it. There's just not enough PvE gameplay for me yet.
Yeah.
And I need murder. And everyone was like being nice trying to learn the game. And I just wanted to murder everything. I was opening airlocks and sucking people out going, that's an interesting way of killing someone. But yeah, so, hello, I do Star Citizen. I'm Board Gamer. It's my birthday. I'm 32.
Congratulations. I didn't know it was your birthday. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you very much. What else am I supposed to say? What's
Whatever
going
you
on?
want.
Yeah.
Great show. See you next time.
Moving.
I've been tired. Next, let's go to the next person. Ask me questions or leave me alone.
Nighthawk, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen?
My name is Nighthawk Zale. Primarily, I'm a Star Citizen streamer. The streaming has kind of gone on hiatus lately because I just had my first kid with my wife, Lady Nighthawk, and we're sort of taking first year to focus on that.
Congrats.
But thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun. I have streamed off and on, but I think one of the things that I'm more recently known for is my work on Traverse the Verse. It's a tabletop card game themed on Star Citizen. I premiered it at CitizenCon last year during one of the Bar Citizen events, and it went over really well. I did one run on Prince, and development is on hold right now, but we're also trying to work up some stuff to further the deal with CIG Legal. I'd like to keep pursuing this and see if we can develop it to a point where I can actually get it out to the entire community instead of just this limited print that I have. And it would be nice. It would be nice to open the doors and say, here's a game you can play. If you don't have Star Citizen, or you have it but don't have a computer that'll play it, throw the cards down on the table and play it for now.
Awesome.
So,
and there is a Board Gamer, and I believe there's a Meyer, and I don't know if there's a Nubifier card in that game.
There are.
Is.
Yeah. Actually, if you
Good
want,
choice.
I'll run and grab them.
Yeah.
I wasn't informed of
Show
this.
them off later.
The car?
Yeah.
Royalties.
Possibly.
Crew cards and everything.
So, alrighty, and next we have the man who is a leaf on the wind, the man who would beat Wash in a wash-alike contest, Grit Spitter himself. Who are you? Well, what do you do in Star Citizen, all that kind of stuff?
I have no idea who I am or what I'm doing half the time, but I am Grit Spitter. Pretty much everywhere you wanted to find me, which is mostly Twitter and Twitch. And yeah, I stream Star Citizen as well as some other games, but mainly Star Citizen. And a lot of Star Marine. But yeah, that's about it. I don't really have a clue what I'm doing otherwise. Short and sweet.
Then we've got Mr. No Bullshit himself. There is there is no bull feces on this man.
I'm working on that. a little bit.
Nubifier, who are you? What do you do? All that kind of stuff.
Hello, everyone. If you don't know who I am, I'm about to change that. I'm just kidding. Redacted YouTuber, the Nubifier on pretty much any social media. I try to make you very short, no bullshit content so that you don't have to waste any time. But you should watch everyone else too because, BBC, building better community. Recently, I worked on 2.6.2 Track IR. In case you didn't know that's a thing. That's a thing. I contacted Mike Whittam, who works at Natural Point. I think he owns it. I couldn't ask him.
He should own Natural Point. Mike is a good friend of mine. He should own Natural Point.
So he owns it. I didn't know if I was, I don't know, big company, little company. Fine. Anyways, product manager for Track IR, super awesome. He answered all my questions. I didn't realize that there was so much back and forth between him and CIG to get this product to work. So thank you for your efforts. Obviously, he has a vested interest in making it happen, but so do I.
Mike has actually been on this show before, so he's also a live streamer. So he does live streaming with Star Citizen and other good stuff too. So sorry, but yeah, it's not to express how much he's been on CIG to get the product into the activated. So
it's so necessary, right? And it's because a lot of us can't afford VR. Or we don't want to have this stuff on our head or vomit, or we like our 4K displays, or we like to be able to see our keyboards. There's a bunch of my 5. Yeah. But I asked him if he wanted to support a contest. He said yes, so that's on. Shameless plug. Full unboxing coming up, a setup configuration, how to use it with gimbals, how to use it with fixed. All that's coming up. Using it for 6 degrees of freedom, I want to make a HCS command where you can say on foot, and it'll change from being only locked to being different, like you would use for Arma, and then you can say on board, and it would switch back and lock only to pitch and yaw, which I think, we'll discuss that. Jobs series launched today with Cargo. That was a ton of fun. The community's killing that video right now. I'm enjoying publishing the scripts to Reddit because, as I found out, Reddit actually means Reddit. So that's been going off very good. So if you don't like watching my videos, at least you can go watch the script. Basically trying to get the community what they want. Upcoming is passenger transport, farming, fighter pilot, security escort, and bounty hunting. And then as a 20,000 sub gift myself, I'm redoing the audio noise killing stuff in here. So I might make a video about that. And sorry, last thing, BritishCon, there might be a voice pack coming out called Phoenix.
Woo! Yes,
there might be.
Big supporter.
And it's a no bullshit voice pack.
I'm a big supporter of BritishCon because I think it's a good idea, and I want to see more of them around the world. But yeah, no, I'm glad that's coming up in April, right? April 19th, if I want to be right correctly, or is that
22nd?
22nd. I knew it was around there. Yeah, April 22nd. So, I believe you can still buy tickets at the door, right?
I'm not sure if we're going to sell them at the door, but we are. You can buy them from the website. You
buy them from the website, so go ahead and get that. And also, in other news, I'm going to be talking to Nubifier because I have my Track IR that Mike gave me a while ago to play with, and I tried it last night, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. I need to set it up properly. So I need to get it set up properly so I can actually use it.
Yes, sir.
So we'll talk. And last but not least, we have Twitch's latest partner, a man who is handsome and looks good in a hood. He does D&D. He does D&D.
He means this hood.
Yes, that hood.
Yeah. Excellent. Good clarification.
Good save.
I didn't rhyme, damn it! All right, I'm trying to rhyme. Meyer, who are you? What do you do? All that good sorts of things.
My name is Meyer, as you can see down here. You can find me at twitch.tv/Meyer_test, where I stream Star Citizen stuff. I'm a new subscriber at Twitch, a new partner at Twitch. So we've just we're actually at 49 subs at the moment. So as soon as we hit 50, we're going to get more emotes.
Go sub.
And do it. Oh, so we're going to get more emotes, and also we're going to start a YouTube stuff back up again. So that'll be interesting, I suppose. And yeah, I do D&D where I look good in the hood, as it should. So yeah, that's me.
You should follow and subscribe to all of these wonderful people. They all work really hard for Star Citizen. They do a lot of work with them daily, weekly, hourly, minutely in some cases. I should mention that Board. I don't have to mention it because his podcast is the most popular podcast on YouTube. But the Redacted podcast is one that Board helps run, and Maya runs the other very successful podcast called Fortnightly Frontier with Darj. So you should go check out that. We often have other podcast people, Darjnator, other podcast folks on here to talk. And if you guys are interested in Star Citizen, I'm gonna make a freaking icon for this. But the Star Citizen Podsat is a series of podcasts that happen between the morning and the evening that are all related to Star Citizen. They're perfectly spaced. You have your relay, the relay station in the morning, this in the afternoon, and then the evenings, depending on, well, of course, depending on where you are, you have Not So Sober Saturday with Grey-Headed Gamer. So this is the second one. Hopefully we will see you over at the Not So Sober Saturday later tonight. Anyways.
Can I hop in really quick?
Go for it.
You just reminded me. I'm sorry. I forgot a shameless self-promotion. Athagen, if you're still in chat, he's going to be the guest on Grey-Headed Gamer's show tonight, and he's going to be premiering a video that he and I worked on together.
Ah,
cool.
I know this video.
Yes.
It is a cool video. You should see that. So
yeah.
Do you want to give us a little inkling of what the video is about ish? Just a little tiny bit, just a tiny teaser.
Here.
It's going to be midnight for me.
It's a different it's a different spelling of this.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm still done. I have to tune in though now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, anyways, how this whole podcast works is it is a free form, open forum. People will just talk. We'll talk about Star Citizen for the first hour, and then the second hour we'll take questions from the audience. So if you guys want to ask questions, exclamation point question, exclamation point questions, or exclamation point question mark in chat, we'll give you a link to a form. You fill out that form and ask a question. You can ask it to an individual cast member. You can ask it to the whole cast member. You can ask us official CIG questions. We don't know those questions, but we'll still answer them as if we do. And as Board Gamer gave us our header for this stuff, for this podcast, we are at the captain's table. We don't know shit. So take everything we say with a modicum of this is entertainment, and we'll give you some information if we got him, but sometimes we don't know stuff. Except for the Nubifier. He is no bullshit. So that's the only person.
Yet.
Yes.
You don't know bullshit.
I've been told that I need to make my videos longer, so I don't know how to do that.
That
So,
10-minute ad revenue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nubify's YouTube. Nubify's YouTube is no bullshit. The man, the myth, the legend. However,
Right. It takes great time to make what's in this no bullshit.
compress it. Compress it.
Filter it all
It's
down.
not shit.
All
And
right.
coffee.
So, today, what I want to talk about, because it's been 2 weeks since I've been gone, is I want to talk about the greatest ATV ever, which was 2 weeks ago, as well as just generally, what has been your feeling about Star Citizen this week? What is there anything that stood out for you? We'll go individually. We'll start back at Meyer and move our way back around. Meyer, was there anything of the latest news and stuff like that really stood out for you? ATV, the happy hour, any of the releases, or even like the other non-public releases, like shit that Ben says on chat sometimes.
You mean this week or both weeks?
In the last 2 weeks, but this week specifically.
Okay, if it's this week specifically, I kind of like the whole thing with the devs that they're doing nowadays, with the happy hour thing. You know, like I'm getting to see the action from, behind the scenes, as it were. It was really interesting. Well, in terms of anything new this week, I suppose the new female model seems to be looking really, really good. So that's really cool. Can't wait to get those in, because once those are in, then I guess more customization in general as well, and I'm really hyped for that. So yeah.
Lots of gateway projects. If now that 2.6.2 is out, like a lot of people are like,
Yeah.
now this is good. It's a good patch, but now we can't wait for what's coming out. Now the Lone
Exactly.
Last Roblox is out, kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
Noob, how about you? Anything this week that stood out to you specifically?
Yeah. Okay, so
Yes. I'm sorry, Paul.
so like the last 2 weeks, right? We've been getting schedule reports and that type of stuff, and we're all like reading it, trying to micro analyze what it means. Like, oh, we need this. Like, we're all project managers in real life, obviously, because that's all we're doing to this the schedule report. Now, what the schedule report did for me is not the schedule report itself, but ATV 2 weeks ago is it illustrated to me the need for tool sets to generate the universe. Why that's important is we saw tool sets at SitCon, and I was really impressed with that planet, but I was also a little bit salty because we didn't see Squadron 42. As soon as you forget the fact that you were supposed to see it, and you just look at that, you're like, my God, he's able to build a planet really detailed in about 10 minutes. And that answered the question, how the hell are they going to build a universe if all we have is a couple planets and a couple of space stations? It seemed impossible. So, that triggered a video on my part because I really wanted to express the fact that we're this close. In my opinion, I'm not a developer, but I can see we're more than halfway there because I can see the tools and I can see them working. And as soon as we have tools and someone can go click, 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 space station, Kerpla, and then put it out there, my God, Kerpla, we're so close. I'm not saying
glad
tomorrow.
we're more than halfway there, Noob. That sounds like a good thing.
We're halfway there. Oh, I can't say.
So that was my takeaway. Obviously, ATV and all the other little things all add up to awesomeness, but that one thing, and the Tony Z thing with Chris a couple weeks ago, I guess, that was also really enlightening because it every single thing that they said made sense, and I'm like, yes, that's what I want in my game. Mic drop.
I really like seeing Tony Z reading teleprompters, but not answering a question where he's unedited. Because I don't have enough time to go through and work out where the question's been answered.
Yeah.
From just the fluff in between of his personality. I love him. I think he's great. But
that video I did, 1 minute and 35 seconds, someone actually wrote blasphemy in the comment. How dare you condense him to 1 minute and 35 seconds?
It's essential sometimes, unfortunately.
It was fun. It was a challenge.
How about you, Grit? Was there anything this week that's really stood out to you in the last 2 weeks that has stood out to you specifically that made you excited or like that shows you positive or negative? Go for it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Noobifier, actually. Just seeing how many different in-studio development tools and editor tools are getting finished up, and I think most of them seem like they're pretty much done now. Is a really, really good sign for the future. And I think, like I've been saying this for weeks, I'm sure all of us have been too, or not weeks, months. The only thing really holding up 3.0 is the netcode stuff, Megamap, Object Container. But it's nice to see that all these other tools are done. So when all that's finished, I really do think and if we get Delta Patcher around the same time too, it's going to be an avalanche of content as soon as all these systems are done. And I'm impressed that they're a lot farther along on a lot of other systems too than I thought they would have been. The InnerThought 2.0 I was really impressed with, and it wasn't but a few weeks before that they talked about how they were looking into interacting with switches and devices and cockpits, and then like 3 weeks later there it is working in game. So I'm impressed with how fast things are developing right now. And the Megamap stuff for 3.0, but that's a longer talking point. I don't know if you want to get into that later.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, the Megamap stuff is one of the bigger ones that we want to talk. Apparently, you're really low, Grit. You seem fine on my end, but I'll pump you up just a little bit just so that they can hear you better. There you go. Go ahead and try talking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Some good levels. So, how about you, Nighthawk? Is there anything this last week or 2 weeks that you saw that you really like yeah?
A
moment?
couple of things. I mean, well, like everyone else has been saying, it's definitely very exciting to finally see that CIG is at a point where they're willing to share the female model work. Not only the fact that it's put together, but now we're seeing it in its various forms of outfit and attire, loadouts. We're seeing it in various videos where it's going through animations, and I think they even showed a brief cutscene of what possibly looked like maybe a few seconds of Squadron 42 activity, like bridge activity, you know, and anything like NPCs. I know, but it's not even a Squadron 42. I don't care about that right now. What I'm excited about is the fact that they're throwing females out there more and more, and it excites me because I feel like Subsumption is getting closer and closer to the point where 3.0 is actually going to be real for us, you know, because I think Subsumption, more than anything else, at least in this is my own personal opinion from all the information that they've tried to download our way. I feel like that's the one thing that's holding them back from being reach 3.0 more than anything else.
I always thought that Star Citizen was a game, and as a father, you're about to appreciate this, that not we were supposed to enjoy, but our children.
An investment for the future.
That's what most people don't understand. We are the ones who get to enjoy the development. It's our children who are going to get to enjoy it. But in all seriousness, that for me is really exciting to see that underneath all of this is the fact that the subsumption system is really pushing forwards in a lot of different ways. On top of that, I really like that they're starting to show us these tools they've taken the last 2 years to develop. And the fact that, like you're saying, they can create things now in they did the basketball in an hour, on the dot in an hour. And granted, it's broken, it doesn't work all that well, and it looks like shite, but this is very first iteration. It's R&D concepting, and to have it in any form of playability is amazing to watch.
And no blue screen.
Yeah, not once.
That's the one that kind of flipped me out.
And they can do it with entire solar systems too. So it's not just game mechanics. So like everything is going to start moving exponentially faster than it has been up to this point. The foundation has been laid. That really excites me.
Well,
and
it's almost there, but it's there. It's coming around. Like that foundation, we're seeing it. It's been excavated, and now the concrete is being poured. You're like,
absolutely.
You know, it's not a giant hole in the ground. It's now actually something other than a giant hole in the ground, which is exciting when you want to build that house. So
truly, because
Can I throw another thing in about the editor tools they were making? Another thing that impressed me was that it's not all just editor tools too. Some of these tools are automated tools to help take time off of developers' backs. That's going to free up their time to do a whole lot more stuff, like the clothing culling automated tool. And there was another one too, I forget what it was, but it basically reduced something from days, if not weeks, to minutes. That's amazing. That's going to speed so much stuff up.
Well, they were even saying about economy, how they were optimizing, character models now. Something like 1 billion points. Now it's like, I don't know, it's still ridiculous, but it's like 1% of the asset cost. So again, all this stuff sounds good, and it all gets piled up into the Nubifier happy zone.
Optimization passes usually. I was gonna say optimization passes usually happen at the final stages of finishing a certain single-player game.
No, not when they're actually core to the engine. So like
That's
stuff
true.
with the light switch stuff, like the light entities.
They're doing a lot of optimizing though.
Yeah,
They
because
have
they have
to.
to for the object streaming system.
Exactly.
The way they're doing with the mega maps and everything, that's essential that they have that as part of the core system, not as an optimization.
So, Boyd,
True.
what was in
Yeah.
the last week or two that you've that has made you super happy? I mean,
Well,
I know there's a lot of stuff you saw at Foundry 42 you can't talk about, and like I recently went to go visit Austin. There's a lot of stuff I can't talk about because when I went to go to Austin. So I feel you there, but at the same time,
I met their tools master, the guy that's in charge of all the tool systems, and I just thought he was a random drunk guy at the bar. Until the end of the night, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I work on Star Citizen well, and my brother's head of networking in the office." And I was like, "Oh, hi, yeah, and I'm
We need name tags. We need
I'm the
name
tools
tags.
guy." And I was like, "Oh,"
Bar
and then we bought each other tequilas, and it was great.
Wasted at the end of the night.
But obviously, last week's ATV was probably the best ATV I've ever seen, and I think everyone was talking about this week, so I'll talk about this week as well, rather than going, "Oh my god, we saw so many cool things."
We'll talk about that eventually, but I wanted to mostly focus on this week because a lot of people have got that information. We'll kind of tie it all together tonight, though.
There was a couple of things from ATV. The armors, we saw obviously the female armor and the heavy outlaw armor. That heavy outlaw literally makes me moist. I think it's an absolutely beautiful piece of. I think it looks amazing. But they also talked very lightly about they're doing the research and development into the large mechanized Titan armor.
Yeah, see,
Yes.
I like how they called it mechanized, the mechanized suit. Instead of calling it what they used to call it, which was just the armor, now they're calling it the mechanized suit. My hope is Sean Tracy, my friend.
Well, he'll get
Brings
mechs, doesn't he?
Mechs into the game. And
Gundam or bust.
At the very end, we also saw the Cutlass Black flying around in the title screen at the end.
Yes.
We did, yeah.
That was
I
great.
was like, why didn't you show more of that? I wanted to see that.
Because it's just gonna show up. It's okay. We've been waiting 5 years for that ship.
Yeah, exactly. Because that Cutlass genuinely excites me, like the new rework of it. It actually has something that it's supposed to do, rather than being sold to do everything, including a female model.
Yeah.
It's just, I didn't understand about why they tried to make the Cutlass do everything, but now it's got a solid path. I like. They did talk about trying a bit of scanning as well, which people didn't seem to. I looked at other news stuff. People didn't talk about the scanning. They talked about pinging and it being able to see all the objects that you're able to see by pinging things. And they talked about you being able to change the angle of focus, which would give you larger range, but less kind of area of effect.
Yeah, and the thing is about that is that's been in game at least temporarily during the PTU stages of 2.6.1. So, or 2.6.
Right.
It was actually in the PTU, the first wave PTU. It was just a ping that would just be sent out.
That's right.
But
It's broken. Don't use it.
But it's broken.
Yeah.
Don't use it because it crashed the servers. But that's
An interesting
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say an interesting gameplay implication from the whole pinging system that they talked about was that so you can use that pinging system to see what's ahead of you, but at the same time, you're also going to be pinging things that may be hostile, and they'll be looking out for those pings, and then they'll find you easier. So it's like a really like risk-revert kind of situation.
Active
thing.
versus passive sonar kind of stuff, which is pretty nice,
Yeah.
you know?
So it'll be interesting to see how it works,
I'm not pinging anything. That's just I'm over here. Come kill me.
There was two other little things that Ben talked about on Spectrum.
Mhm.
I just wanted to I noticed it was he talks about the new Banu ship that's going to be going on concept sale very soon. It's going to be next week, could be the week after, whatever. And he describes it as a defensive ship.
And then he also talked about the. Someone asked him about the wording for the 600, which was like luxury holiday, and like it's like what? Yeah. So I'm excited
Would you
for
be upset
that.
with a small 890?
No.
Really?
I mean, I'd want a Constellation or Freelancer sized 890 is what I'd like. Is that be a small yacht? Like a.
Because we already have a Connie.
Yeah.
We already have a Freelancer, so let's not get another one.
No, but somewhere
Right.
between those two is just like a pure luxury vehicle, which is fine.
Yeah.
A little sleeker, a little smoother.
Yeah. Why not?
It's going to be at least bigger than the same size as this other Starfarer, really. The 890 jump, right?
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
bigger.
got like 3 or more decks.
Yeah. No,
It's got the
Probably got bigger.
captains.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's got the
carrot.
captain's deck. Yeah, it's got the lower deck that's got like the panoramic kind of lounge and a bar, and underneath that it's got engineering and stuff, doesn't it? From the old white box thing.
It's so expensive.
Don't you have one?
Oh, boy, but it's expensive as well.
Wait, did it go down in price?
No, it went up in
No,
price.
Remorse.
No, it went
Yeah,
up. Right.
Was
Yeah.
£600, $600.
They made it
and then they went,
$890.
Made it
yeah.
It was so.
And I went, oh, that sounds like a cool price to pay.
Marketing.
Oh man. But the big thing I wanted to talk about, and of course the other than we'll go back to the last week and the kind of the overall kind of feelings about things like the systems finally coming into place, a lot of their development systems is 2.6.2. Since that came out into PTU this week, it added something that nobody was expecting, which is the Buccaneer into the game.
No one was expecting. Come on.
Well, I mean, we knew that the Buccaneer was going to be coming, but when's the last time they released a ship with a point, patch? They usually did it with like the.
Well, until
major
the Dota
patches.
patch is there, that's the only way they can get ships to us.
I guess so. Yeah.
They can't release them separately, so they have to kind of force them in. Like,
Yeah.
it's ready,
Whatever they've done.
So
I know.
what are your thoughts on this patch overall and so far, and the Buccaneers specifically? If you guys want to talk about it.
Well, I know a lot of people are kind of like frustrated that they released the Buccaneer before they released the Cutlass, but I don't know. I mean, I've been trying to tell people that isn't it the same two people or more that are working on both the ships, so one of them had to come out first.
Same one.
The
person.
same. Matt Sherman. I thought it was Matt Sherman and one other person, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Matt
I can't
Sherman
remember.
and I can't remember. He says, oh, he was the one who also has those one things like baller was one of those terms he used a lot for when he's also designing the 890 jump, or no, he's designing the Phoenix.
Coons?
Coons, yeah. Coons
Oh,
is
that's
the
the
one.
one. Yeah.
Coons is the one
So-
making them.
Baller, and
so,
all of a sudden I knew.
yeah.
Yeah. So like it's just those two guys working on those two ships. So obviously one of them had to come out first. But at the same time, like the reason why the Buccaneer exists in the first place is because citizens were complaining so much about the Cutlass being the way it was. So to me, it kind of made sense that they make the apology ship, as it were, before they then release the new
apology
Cutlass.
ship.
That's pretty much what it is.
It's an apology ship.
The
It's an
SS
apology
sorry.
ship.
Bribe.
I should call that my Buccaneer the SS Sawyer, the SS Salt Miner. You know, like
We are very sorry that the Cutlass Black wasn't what you expected. Please give us some more money for ships.
The Buccaneer is also probably like a third of the size of a Cutlass too.
it's a
pretty
third of the
small.
size of almost every ship. It's like
Yeah.
it's like an Aurora with wings on it.
Yeah.
You know, in terms
Yeah,
of
it's
its size.
a cockpit and engines.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make more sense to put the Cutlass Black out with cargo anyways?
Yeah, that makes more
I
sense.
mean,
anyways.
3.0 is not out yet, and neither is Cargo. So I guess
No,
whenever
but-
that comes out,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like
Like
3.0 cargo ship.
yeah,
No,
Exactly.
so for me, you literally want to have as small amount of content as possible in 3.0. You want to get as much of it out before then, ships and everything, because there's going to be
Right.
so much stuff that's going to go wrong with 3.0.
Mhm.
Like there's planetary landings. There's going to be ships that just implode, explode. We're going to be spawning in our own heads. There's going to be loads of weird stuff that happens. Getting as much stuff
nothing
that's
goes
already almost done.
It depends on
out
how
before
solidly
just
it's
helps.
built. Yeah.
I mean,
And that makes sense.
It doesn't matter how solid it's built. It's going to be so many bugs because it's going to be there's going to be object containers everywhere that don't work properly. Physics grids interacting with
Yep.
20 other physics grids that all just do weird stuff. There's people going to be like firing a bullet and it just goes around and spins around
Yeah.
ships. Oh,
I think
that's
that's
what I can do
part-
with physics grids.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's
I-
part of the reason we got Mega Map and the arenas in 262 is so they can
Oh,
do
yeah.
early stress testing
Well,
on a
see-
very limited scale object container.
That's my theory as well. Is that I'm pretty sure that they're going to have a release between 2.6.2 and 3.0, just because there's so much shit they have to test that just has to work. And the problem is that look at 2.6. 2.6 was released, and there were so many bugs associated with it. Well, not 2.6, 2.6.1 I think is the big one. That when it was released, there were so many bugs associated with it because they couldn't get enough hype for people to come in and test it for
Yep.
PTU. There just wasn't enough people, and so when suddenly the massive crush of people came into it, there was a lot of bugs that showed up because there wasn't as many people testing PTU. So that's the key, is that they need to get a lot of people. And yes, I know there's going to be a lot of people in PTU testing 3.0, but you want to get that stuff before 3.0 so you don't have you have as few board orbits with board bullet orbits that happen in 3.0
Also,
as possible.
also a good reason to put a sneaky ship into an incremental patch to get more people to play that PTU, since nobody was in 261.
Yeah,
So everybody's like, "Oh, Buccaneer! I'm going to play the PTU this weekend."
yeah, and it works, you know.
It does. It worked. Yeah.
And the question is too, why would you hold a ship back if it's ready and people have pledged for it?
Yep.
Let them have it. Like, what's the negative? I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
I'll
Especially
tell
the
you.
dogfighter.
I tell you why they'll hold a ship back, because if it's
Hype.
ready, because someone in the office suggests so they hold it back. I bet there's occasionally
A marketing-
someone just goes, "Let's hold that back," and someone just goes,
No, that's-
"Why? I don't know."
no, but you know, you
Fine
do
by
know
me,
what
we
I
don't
mean.
know.
I mean, technically, we all know that the ship pipeline and the game pipeline are separate, right? So, as soon as if the universe is broken for one ship, it should be broken for all ships, right? So, if the universe is working for ships,
Demand it.
then why not put a ship in? Let people play with it, and then
Yeah.
again, it distracts us from the fact that the game's not ready yet. right? Because they're off testing something else.
Exactly.
Playing with loadouts and craziness, and basically trying to break the ship, because that ship is very weird. It's not very well balanced. We'll agree with that. It's very fast. It's very agile. Stops on a dime. Has good loadout. And now people are starting to realize I'm dying a lot because I'm flying it like a Hornet. So it's good. It's good gameplay. You have to reinvent a strategy with that ship. You have to team up or something like that to get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, because they're stupid. But you put that in Battle Royale, right? You put that in Battle Royale, and I promise you, you'll be competitive.
It's not
but you'll have to.
It's not a solo ship. It's a ship that requires multiple people.
If you play it in squadron battle, it's really effective as well because you're flanking.
Well, yes,
you're just waiting for targets of opportunity.
Teamwork, of course.
It's a cheaper version of an M50 with bigger teeth.
Yeah, it's the way I like to put it is the M50 is the A-wing, the Buccaneer is the X-wing of that similar style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love diversity in the universe. It's awesome. Letting people choose whatever they want that makes them happy.
Yeah.
No problem. As long as it's fair.
No,
balanced is a bad word that gets misused. I think fair is a better way to describe
it doesn't
balance.
need to be balanced because ships aren't supposed to be all fighting each other at equal level
You're right.
But
But
the
I
fins
mean-
the fins at the back, I hate. I think lots of
Well, that
people hate.
ship.
Yeah,
But the
that
thing is,
was-
that ship comes apart. It doesn't just like if you hit a saber, knock the wing off. You've knocked the wing off. If you hit that thing anywhere and it loses an engine, the guy might as well jump out. Like it's
But
over.
that's Drake. That is Drake
And
all
that's-
over.
and
It's
that's-
literally-
that's what I mean. That's why it's fair.
It's more armored than the Hurricane purely because there's components in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of components, I'm curious to see ships like the Buccaneer. I think will be very different once we get Item System 2.0 and all the component customization, because that's a ship that you can seriously juice up your firepower and then probably turn off a bunch of systems so that you have a really minimal radar signature, so you're really hard to target unless you're super close. And that could all sorts of different variations of that.
It's also a smaller ship, so it's harder to hit unless you're right up next to it.
Have
So
you
I think
guys
there'll be
used the
lots of ways
Gladius
to tweak it.
in the new
The
patch?
Gladius.
The Gladius
Gladius
is
is
disgusting.
Yeah,
It is disgusting. Like,
try the
But it
Gladius
should
out
be.
again.
It's a light fighter.
yeah, it is.
It's a small fighter, and it's the only thing it has going for it is that it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Try
Even
the
if it
Gladius
is
in the new patch.
disgusting, though, I mean,
It's gold
Go
standard
on.
for a reason. It's
Is-
really good.
isn't it like meant to be like in lore 400 years ago, 400 years old or something like that? So it doesn't really make sense to me that
Yeah.
it's.
The game's
so
not even out, and my ship's 400 years old.
I think it's the Hornet, actually.
Well, no, so all the ships, like the lore, and they're going to go back and redact the lore about a bunch because it's like it was all designed as a joke. The idea was that it's an older ship. It's the F-14 to the Hornets, F-15 or whatever.
But it's still used by the military.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like one of the oldest
Right.
military ships they use still.
Yeah.
The Avenger.
The good thing is that ship, I mean, in the Vandal Swarm, where all the low hit points and everything are there, it seems disgusting, but it makes sense though, because you take that ship out into the verse and you see a Connie. You're not touching the Connie with
Nope.
it because it doesn't have enough firepower. You could get 6 of them, right?
Why
and that's
would you
good
touch
because
the
it's
Connie?
no, but that's what I'm saying is that everyone thinks
For what
that
reason?
their ship should be able to kill everything, right? Like
Yeah.
all the time in any deadly load, it's like, oh my god, I'll be able to blow up the desk with this configuration. I'm like, no, you won't. You go shoot at a Starfarer. He won't even bother to train guns on you because he's watching his shields light up red, but come back immediately, like, haha.
Yeah,
You know, like,
that's what I've noticed about specifically about the Buccaneers. Like the Buccaneer is great for other fighters. You try to take out a Connie with it, it's like
Not happening.
it's like chopping wood with a herring. You're sitting there
That's
going,
why the Hurricane. The Hurricane,
Chopping
though,
wood with a
that
herring.
will.
Yeah.
you watch. If I'm in a Connie and I see a Hurricane shooting at me, that will get my attention because that can tickle that
Yeah.
ship for
I
sure.
can see the
But
Buccaneer
your turrets.
wing situation where you have use the Buccaneer to or a different ship, a heavier fighter to go in and beat down the shields in a dogfight, and then have your buddy who's in a Buccaneer kind of zip in at the end with some serious hull hitting firepower just to finish it off real quick.
yeah, or
It's
it's
definitely going to be a group play.
or it's
ship.
that ship is not a solo ship. That is it's a pack hunter.
Yeah.
So a lot of these engagements in the persistent universe when the game's released, there's not going to be reasons for a Gladius to attack a Connie, really. Because what's it going to do? It blows it up. Good job. I'll take the loot.
Yeah.
With what?
Yeah.
It just a lot of the time it doesn't make sense for you to engage that because you're just wasting your money by firing ammo. It's just
That's true.
Even if you could, like, there's going to be there's so much more to Star Citizen than 1v1 combat.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Also,
and
I think
that's where
the amount of times
that's
you're
where
going to
I'll
have. The amount of times you're going to have 1v1 combat in Star Citizen, I can count in my hand. Like there's not, you're almost never going to experience it unless you're stupid.
We're playing Vandal Swarm.
Yeah,
Welcome back to character generation.
yeah.
You'll be here often. The toe tips.
Yeah. I took some time in the Buccaneer just sitting in the hangar, and it actually does have some storage. There is intention for it to have some personal storage. If you
Yeah.
rotate your head to either side, there are tube-like containers, one on each side of the inside, and they're strapped to the hull, and it's marked as 0.24 SCU.
I think
So
that
you
is
can
for-
carry half an SCU.
I think that's for emergency supplies if you crash on a
Yeah.
planet, but genuinely,
Oxygen.
and like FPS weapons, ammo, and stuff.
And there is actually
Yeah.
there are 4 components on the exterior that you can open up that are labeled emergency supplies. My
Yeah.
favorite sign in there is if you look to your right as you get into the cockpit, there's a sign that says that it's made up of mostly recycled ship parts that are totally legal salvage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Totally legal.
Totally legal salvage. I imagine some shady Russian being like, no, not worry, friend. This is totally legal. We
It's a pod racer.
No.
Right out of that shitty movie with
No.
that stupid alien.
It is legal. It is best. We help environment. No refunds. No warranty. Like
Isn't it
I'm
supposed to
not
have
sure
a
what that
smuggling
person's
compartment?
from.
it's a shitty accent. That's what it is.
So
Yeah.
they talked about that in the FAQ ages ago. So they
Yeah.
they cannot confirm or deny yet whether they're going to have those hidey holes in the Buccaneer. But some ships are going to have them.
Smuggler holes, yeah.
Smuggler hidey holes. But I think the idea is that you'll probably be able to interact with everything like we've seen, like
Yeah.
open drawers and stuff, and you will be able to like chuck some drugs in there. And hiding small amounts of drugs and stuff, or narcotics or whatever on your person, or like a pet or something on your person, might be quite viable. But when you're doing it in larger things, like
Yeah.
like the Hull Sea, that's more likely to get scanned down. Because no one's going to come in
Or use
come into
shielded
your
containers or something.
Buccaneer, are they? Not going to come to your
Yeah.
Buccaneer and go, open her up, sir.
Not at 700 meters per second, it won't.
And the Buccaneer has been the first ship that's been designed from the ground up after the Atom 2.0 change has happened. And one of the things I've noticed with those emergency things is that I can imagine when Item Port 2.0, when the streaming container, that whole system is put in place, that those places that say emergency, so you could probably open it the flap and there'll probably be some emergency stuff. You could probably pull out those emergency supplies and put in like some drugs, or some booze, and then close it and then be like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I got nothing on me. And then you land and you pull out the drugs and be like, here's your drugs. Like it can be a courier
Custom-
almost.
Customs
My
pulls out
emergency
the-
drugs.
Yeah.
Customs pulls out the Thorshoe Gray sniffing crabs.
Yeah.
I can tell you if I put a smuggling hole on the Buccaneer, I would probably do it. The cubby on the back that folds open and the back landing gear fold out of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great. You put a false back on there, and you can fit something really nicely sized in there. That could work.
Just stick it in the ejection seat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
never-
wait.
It's all criminals everywhere. I can cut up a hooker and store her in the back of my Buccaneer. I see.
Has anyone tried while moving to jump out? Does that animation work?
That
I never tried it.
Twerk.
Because that'd be
jumped
funny
out
if
of
it's
it.
like-
I saw
You jump-
It like jumps out the
Twerk
side.
eject. No ejection seat, but I saw twerk
How
eject.
fast is it? About the same speed as an ejection seat?
Well, no, because you hold F and you go.
Do you hit? Do you hit the hull as you're flying out and take damage?
I think you can.
No,
do.
it's space. It's space. It's never mind. We would fly together and die.
So
Oh,
Target-
sorry, Paul. So I wanted to ask everyone this. While I remember, do we know if the current PU is set up for object container streaming?
no.
I don't
So
think
they
so.
have to actually entirely redo that map.
Yes.
Yeah.
The map that we have right now is a placeholder. Like
And
everything in
serialized
there,
variable.
Yeah.
and serialized variable is part of that, right? It's when they're testing right
And
now.
yeah, but not in the PU.
Exactly.
Not in
to
the
you?
like for so serialized variable.
No mega map, nothing. Yeah.
If everyone's expecting like crazy 500 frames per second in the persistent universe, we're not there yet, but you should still see improvement. I'm expecting to see improvement, except that I'm getting some nasty hangs. But anyways, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
I'm not getting nasty hangs in the PU.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk
Not
about.
in the PU, in
Marine Commander stuff, yeah. And
Yeah.
Star Marine
but
stuff.
it's still PTU, so whatever. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about with the, like you were saying, a possible incremental patch between now and 3.0.
Well, it's
Yeah.
and we can talk about that kind of right now because I think the big thing is that right now what we have in the PU is going to be gone. Like everything we saw from 2.0 patch is going to be gone. Almost all of those assets are going to be almost wasted. All the SAR is going to be gone.
No.
Not wasted because a lot of them are the basis for other things. Like for instance,
Reimagined.
Yeah, like for instance, the like Olisar
Updated.
is going to be changed so that it actually works like the system that they showed off 2 weeks ago in terms of the station systems.
To get real, all this stuff looks rubbish. You know,
Yeah.
it's not.
It needs
No
to get
connecting
upgraded,
tubes,
and there's no connecting
Yeah.
tubes. There's nothing built in. It's not built for
Exactly.
longer for the 3.0. So it needs to get refurbished or thrown away and replaced.
The planets and the moons are all placeholder.
They're all placeholder. They need to get replaced. And so my guess is that what they may do is if they have a patch, which I'm pretty sure they will, between 2.6.2 and 3.0, if patch or two before that, what they'll do is they'll replace the systems with what they have, which is the reason why they've been so heavy on showing off the moons. Well, they've been showing off the moons of Crusader.
Yep.
That was the thing they've been working on
quite a lot.
super hard.
Yeah.
And they've been talking a lot about it. And usually, if to know what CIG does, just see what they talk about a lot. And if they talk about, the more they talk about, and the more they show off a certain asset, the more that asset's getting close to release. So, Yella, Selen, and I can't remember the last.
Daymar.
Delmar.
The new asteroids are probably close to done because we saw that about a month ago or so, wasn't it? The updated asteroids.
New asteroids are actually in 262 around Yella.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah?
I haven't been over there yet.
Yeah, it's the new asteroid tech.
So,
Oh, nice. So the whole voxel base kind of like breaky chunky.
No, they don't have the voxel in yet, but the way in which they build out the asteroid fields, the way in which the asteroids actually move and rotate and actually feed off of one another in terms of motion, like the whole ring actually rotates very slightly around the moon as the moon itself rotates. And there are different areas, like the further into the center you go, the more dense it becomes, and the further out to the sides or to the top and bottom.
Time lapse, Leo, please.
Right. Thanks for the chat, guys. I'll see you in a bit.
No, Paul, just to get back to what you were saying, it totally makes sense. An incremental patch, it makes sense to bring the current universe up to modern tech and then expand.
So like 2.7, I would fully expect like possibly a cargo system, possibly even landing on those sites, even if it's limited.
Yep.
The idea is to
oxygen
with
And another Evocati that goes to Zulu patch.
yeah, something. I expect this to come out sometime in like July or like late summer and last for months. You know,
You'd be surprised as soon as they can get one object container working.
Yeah.
A lot of the problems with that sort of stuff can be quite
They're
easily
systemic. Yeah.
Yeah, you just go.
Well,
this
serialized variables, and it's
This is an object
Everything's
container that's
grouped.
happening. Everything's
they've been-
grouped and it's a lot easier to.
Yeah, and they were talking about in the last two ATVs too, is about the grouping of objects and subgroups and making it easier to break it down and more efficient for the object container streaming system to stream in all these different assets because they're much more efficiently organized. So I think, like Board, you're saying, and I think that's what they're doing with 262 right now, is testing out the fundamentals of that mega map multiplayer on the arenas. And if that gets really solid, but the one rub I have, because I have the same thought that you did, Paul, about the 2.7. The only rub I see in that is that whether or not they would want to take the time to redo Crusader when the new Sol editor is based on an entire solar system.
well,
So I don't know if they'd want to do that or if they even could.
The Sol editor allows them to do that.
They can just
That's
put,
I'm curious.
they only have to.
just a chunk.
Yeah.
They would just put down the one planet and the moons, and that would be
Yeah.
it. And then they wouldn't have to worry about the other stuff. It would still work the same way, and
Yeah.
it's the same assets. The key is to test the material before they add more people in, and then they can add more
Exactly.
people in with 3.0 or even with 2.7. They may be able to add more people in and just test all these variables out. Because if 2.7 is crap, no one cares. If people care, but like it's not like the end of the world. It's 2.7. If 3.0 is crap, that's going to be a fucking headline news for news agencies. Like Star Citizen, $447 million raised, and he still can't make a fucking game. Release a shitty patch and
Planets are
whatever.
flying into the sun.
Yeah.
When
That's a
dreams
feature.
turn to nightmares. Oh.
But
Because, I mean,
those are the things we got when they announced they're going to Lumberyard. It was like some bullshit like headline like after 4 years and $145 million, Star Citizen changes engine. It's like that's complete bullshit. And
No,
it.
that's not clickbaity enough. It's dump sold engine.
Yeah.
Dump sold engine.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well, they did talk about the Mega Map stuff in the recent ATV, and the thing that I noticed the whole discussion between the arenas and the PU is the arenas really are it's one object container streamer, like object container. We'll say it that way, and everybody's connected directly to that one. I think that's the rub, and they talked about it a little bit in the ATV. Is that when you go over to the PU, it's not this tiny little one asset area. That's when you really do have to cull out all the different clients that are in different areas of space, and that can't be tested in the arenas at all. So I do think, it makes sense to do a 2.7 or something in between, because they're gonna have to. There's no way you couldn't
We're
do
going to
that.
almost certainly see a 2.7, and it'll be like moons, some stations,
I mean,
and some more ships. And that
right now, the way things are looking with 3.0, I mean, it's going to have procedural planets, it's going to have cargo, it's going to have mining, it sounds like possibly even NPCs running around and doing
Truck
stuff.
stations.
Oxygen system, room air oxygen system. It's a whole new game, and there's no way they can drop all of that at once and expect anything to go right.
So that's the
No,
reason
not
why.
like a 3-month-long evocati or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the reason why I'm almost certain that's what 2.7 is going to be.
Yeah.
If they release
and that
one,
would-
and I'm almost
that
certain
would
they
kill
will
it.
do it. Yeah.
That would
Unless
kill
there's
all
something
content. We'd have nothing to talk about. Just be murder.
Unless for some reason, we don't know, and like the serialized variables and the object container streaming that they're working on is just super solid and efficient and works great. I could see it maybe going straight to 3.0, but I highly doubt
they
that.
haven't done the low-level rework yet.
Yeah.
They're testing out some of the features of that effectively. What is that weird sound I can hear in the background, like panpipes?
It's my fucking neighbors, so I can mute it a little bit, but
Sounds like somebody's phone's vibrating on the mic.
Peruvian
Yeah.
pan flutes or something in the background.
yes, it's Kanta music that my neighbor is
Invite
playing.
them over.
Yeah.
Put them on. Get them their own webcam.
Some live music, right?
Oh. But yeah, I can't remember what I was saying.
I mean, let's be honest though. I mean, like with Mass Effect Andromeda's release and its reception, and No Man's Sky's release, reception, and then subsequent expansion and reception, there are a lot of eyes on Star Citizen, and so like it's gonna have to either be good or amazing. Otherwise, people are
You get
gonna
to
poop on
see
it.
Star Citizen as it's being built. You don't expect something. No Man's Sky. Sean Tracy lied. He lied about stuff. He lied about features. He lied about multiplayer.
I mean, Sean.
False advertising.
No, it wasn't Sean Tracy.
Sean Tracy.
What?
Sorry.
Sean Murray?
I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
poor Sean.
Oh my god. Oh my
Sean,
god.
it's late there.
That's
right?
getting
It's late where
clipped.
board is.
That's getting clipped.
Yeah.
That's liable. I'm
Like
sorry,
midnight.
Sean.
I went to Manchester. He lied.
Oh my god, no, I'm so sorry, Sean Tracy. I love you really.
Murray, Sean Murray.
Sean Murray. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. But the what was the other game you said? Andromeda.
Yeah.
It just promised something that genuinely didn't have, and that promise was to have some form of good graphics. And the faces are just like
Andromeda is exactly what I expected it to be.
Really?
A decent next game, a decent Mass Effect game. That's all it is. I was not hyped for that. All the shit they showed on it early. look good.
Those facial animations are terrible, man. It's
Yeah.
like, have you seen goblin fish? You know, like
It's a
in like
console
Nat Geo, and their mouths do this. Like
And
their
it's-
teeth are here, but their mouths do this.
But does it break the game? Does it, like, I'm not
Andromeda.
devil's advocate. Does it really break the game? Is the game?
It's a
story
fun Mass
like-
Effect game. That's
My
about it.
immersion
But it's
will be
nothing
fire.
groundbreaking.
I will say this, that I think what
Yeah,
Meyer
okay.
was getting at was that I think we've got
Yeah.
a situation where all of these different space games have come out and they've been disappointing. Star Citizen is primed to be the non-disappointing space game,
Yeah.
but they have to do it right. Which is and all chat's like, oh, 3.0 is going to be terrible. It's going to be like any other patch. It's like, yeah, but there's a difference between 3.0 being 2.0 or 3.0 being 2.6 or 2.5. If 3.0 is 2.5, we can deal with that. 2.5 was broken and buggy and had problems, but it was still working. Whereas, yeah, I know you can hear in the background. That's why I'm trying to talk as less as possible.
No, someone's clipped Sean Tracy.
Yeah,
Nico, Sean Tracy.
I was gonna say.
Evil Connie for you.
I mean, I like that's going everywhere. You know.
Sounds like they're having a jam session next door.
Jesus Christ! This now you know why I'm moving. Now you know why I'm moving. New neighbors decided that it's so good, and sometimes they'll play it at like fucking 11 o'clock at night when I'm streaming. It's like, thanks, neighbors. Fuck you, and then they yell at me because I'm laughing too loud when I stream. It's like,
Ooh,
so. Anyways,
Okay.
but it's primed to be a really good game, and I think that's the key. Is that a 2.7 patch may be the difference between 3.0 being broken but alpha, and 3.0 being we're having crash timers and counters and how long we can be in the game. Oh, it's great, but we'll wait until the next patch till it actually fucking works, kind of thing.
Definitely.
So.
it does sound like, though, a lot like we were talking about earlier. A lot of the editor tools and the new automated tools that they're using, though, they often refer to a lot of these as having really good performance gains and stability gains. So who knows? And testing out little features here and there in the arenas and stuff as they build forward and take their time. It does seem like every big patch we get now, the few that we've gotten, because they're so spread out, they go a little bit better each time. But 3.0 is a huge, massive change to the whole thing. So who knows? It could be a hot mess, or it could be surprisingly meh.
No, but I mean,
It's like the way I make love. Surprisingly, no.
I think 3.0 is going to be one of those things that a lot of people are like, oh, it's not going to be the full game. It's like, yeah, it's not going to be the full game, but there's going to be a lot of people
But it's
who are
going
going
to
to
feel like
a lot of people who are going to treat it like the full game.
It's going to
gonna
have
have
gameplay
tangible-
mechanics.
Not.
Tangible
It's that people
gameplay.
will-
Yeah.
Yeah.
People will actually play it, and the MMO guys are gonna sit there grinding on rocks, mining for credits. And
Yes!
I'm expecting more people to be playing it longer.
Yeah, no, there'll be
and a lot more
more.
replayability.
There'll be more people overall playing the game as it's going on, and there'll be more content creators creating content, which will then generate more buzz, which should generate more people coming in and buying the game. A lot of fence sitters we've been waiting for something like this, and every major progression, there'll be less and less fence sitters, and more people either playing the game or not playing the game straight up.
I have
That's the key.
I have
That's
a
the thing
weird-
about it.
weird little thing we've been discussing on my stream, just a theory crafting. Don't know if it's a real good theory or not, but I wonder what you guys thought about this. I have this pet idea that maybe from a marketing standpoint from Star Citizen, like we're talking about, how there is a lot of scrutiny. It is, a massive success in terms of crowdfunding. It's got a lot of eyes on it. I'm wondering if maybe they want to have 3.0 and Squadron come out, if not at the same time, relatively close to each other, because Squadron 42 will be their first real full finished product.
CS
And then
will
that's going to bring
implode.
in a ton of people.
Yeah,
And then you can go, oh, by the way, all these new people, check out, you can do all the same stuff at the same fidelity over here in our MMO alpha.
No, I mean they're not going to do that though. That's
I
the
don't
thing.
think so.
But
I think
close to each other. maybe.
they'll be close, but I don't think.
Yeah.
I think we'll get 3.0 before we get Squadron 42 because Squadron
I think
42
so, too.
has
Great.
to be good.
I think there are.
Yeah. Well,
basic
that would be good
gameplay
hype
mechanic.
for Squadron too.
I
So
think
something
that there
that
are a
I'm-
lot of basic gameplay mechanic and back-end tools, processes that still need to be dropped into place in support of Squadron 42, and they need to be tested out properly. And that's, I think, in large what 3.0 is. It's bringing in all that stuff that's going to be the next set after that foundation and really start folding Squadron 42 into more
Yeah,
of what we can deem a finished product.
I would dub 3.0 as the foundation update for Star Citizen. It's the foundation alpha.
Yeah.
Like, it is the first time we get a foundational gameplay aspect beyond just testing things out. So,
So you have to
something
bear in mind. Sorry.
No, go on. Sorry.
What little we do know of Squadron 42, we are going to be spending time at the Shibin mining facility, and that's very different
Spoilers.
from living
I'm done.
standard lifestyle. So even if we're not the ones who are doing all these other things, subsumption's already going to be in place. NPCs are going to be all over the place. They're going to have their full 24-hour life cycle. So we're not doing the mining, but the NPCs are doing the mining, and we're going to be flying around that sort of stuff. And they need to have these large-scale environments set up. There's all kinds of stuff that's going to be in place. So 3.0 is absolutely mandatory.
I would almost wonder that they would have that done for Squadron and then port over to the MMO, because it would be easier to implement those game controls in a single-player environment than a multiplayer environment.
yeah, but you also want consistency of look. Like, you want to make sure
same
it looks the
back end.
same.
Yeah.
So to a degree, it makes sense that they said, hey, mining is going to be ready at the end of the year or with 3.0, because you're going to have some sort of mining animations working for Squadron 42, and they're going to share the same animations. So why work smarter, not harder?
All of the other things that you need, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, and on your point of one would sell the other, I don't think it, like, let's be real here. When this thing starts to work and it's a thing that people can buy and it's reliable, I don't think it's going to matter if they advertise it or not. I think it's just going to go nuts. So
yeah, but I think advertising is also the difference between a game that goes from a couple million people playing it to millions plural.
No, there's so that's normally barriers to entry that gets you those millions. Like, if you can play it on a cheap rig, if it's a cheap game or whatever.
Yeah, but on top of
get
that,
it.
also people need to know about it. And word of mouth works, but it only works so far.
We're
this
also
works,
very
PC gamers
hyper
can have
aware.
no trouble telling people about this.
Yeah,
Me-
we're
it-
also
it-
very
all
hyper
bad
aware of the project. New people, I'm surprised when I have new people on my channel that they've heard about Star Citizen, they've loosely looked at stuff over the last couple of years, and then they're like, "What? Squadron? What? There's a single player campaign? I had no idea." So it's not
Websites are gonna
surprising. Yeah.
explode as soon as Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. Every patch, well, every major thing that happens with Star Citizen gets a load more people. When that game comes out, they don't need to advertise. They've got a golden goose with their marketing. Sandy seems to be absolutely amazing at handling viral marketing and getting people to buy spaceships. And Star Citizen, it's just going to go mad on all the media sites just from people going, the game's shit, all the game's amazing. And it doesn't
Not
matter,
to
'cause they're still
mention-
going to get more players.
Not to mention they start interviewing, and if it is a huge hit, and if it's great and everything we hope it to be, you're going to have all these amazing A-list actors that are going to get interviewed and be talking about it because they're still under
And hopefully
NDA.
play
They
it.
can't talk about it. So,
And hopefully
Yeah. I mean,
Who
like
wants
when
to
Mark
see
Hamill was
Hamill?
participating, when he was participating in all the recording and stuff. I mean, like he was actively supportive of Star Citizen. Like like when somebody tweeted to him and they were like, what are you looking forward to in terms of space stuff? He said Star Citizen. He didn't say Star Wars. So he is largely supportive of it. So when it comes out, you can imagine that he will at least tweet it. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no.
So yeah,
I mean, even Gillian Anderson was talking about it, and we know that there's a couple other people who are going to be in the Persistent Universe, who actors in the Persistent Universe, not in Star Citizen, who have been talking about it and noting it. Like, for instance, the actress who plays the Major in the animated, she was the voice of the Major in the animated Ghost in the Shell movie and TV shows. She's going to be body acting and being in the Persistent Universe, which is separate from her
Elizabeth
role.
Maxwell.
Elizabeth Maxwell. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So you got those people who are also going to be that are maybe not Mark Hamill, but they're still pretty big names in terms of the industry. People know who they are, or know their voices, or know them as through other things. So
We need to get Rob Paulson in the game.
well, I forgot the name of the guy. There's the guy who played Darth Maul in the
He does a lot of.
in the animated series. In the animated series, is the kid. He also visited the studio recently. So I mean that's almost a guarantee. I'd say it's almost guaranteed that he's in it because he's been expressed interest in it before as well. So
What about Zorg from
For like
Fifth
what,
Element
mocap?
or like maybe
Well, I-
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah,
Right.
no duh. But I mean,
Yeah.
like, my point is that there's going to be more than just the big guys from
Well, they've
the,
also
from
they've
from
hinted
the-
at a couple other real big actors that they haven't told us about. That they want it to be a surprise in Squadron. At least one or two. At various points last year, they hinted at and teased about some special A-listers that they weren't going to talk about.
For me, some of the B-listers or whatever they're called, just the sci-fi regulars and some of the anime regulars, like I love them. Some of them,
they're iconic. Like, and in many cases,
Yes.
their voices are one of those things that you see. Like, for instance, the guy who does the voice of Garrus in the original Mass Effect trilogy, I always pick his voice out
Oh,
whenever he does a game. Like, he's the voice of the like AI or whatever in the Division. Like, whenever, like that's the same actor, and he's done a couple other things. I'm like, is that Garrus? That's Garrus. That's Garrus. I know that voice. You know, and after a while, you start picking them out after you've heard them in so many different things. So that's the cool part, is that not only are these guys who are going to be voice actors, but how CIG does voice acting, they'll also be body actors. So we actually get to see them for real in the real universe, which is kind of cool as well.
I'm so excited for that.
All right,
So
so
it would be great if we rated a random ship in the verse and it's the entire cast of Firefly.
yeah, I mean,
Doing the crew of a ship. Just a little Easter egg. Nathan Fillion and Alan.
Gray-headed
Tudyk.
gamer would lose his mind.
Awesome.
I'd lose my mind.
Legit.
We know where he'd be for the rest of the existence of Star Citizen.
Alrighty, guys. So
Protecting that one ship.
we're gonna be
Haley.
we're gonna be moving on to the question and answer portion of the cast. For those of you guys who are watching live, we're gonna be giving away a $10 Star System gift card and a Astropub shot glass for those who wins. So if you win, you will have to send me your.
You have to drive to his house to pick it up.
You will have to send me your email
Say
address.
hi to the neighbors while you're there.
as well as send me an address that I can send it to if you guys would want the shot glass. So,
Be right back.
anyways, we're gonna go ahead and start that right now. I'm gonna set a timer on it for about, let's say 45 minutes.
I
30
would
seconds.
just like to apologise for any Sean Tracy's affected,
Oh my god. Still on this.
but also I'd like to say fuck you, Sean Murray.
I've already lost 10,000 subscribers, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They were all Sean Murray.
Sean Tracy.
Yeah, and if you guys do like stuff like this, I want to do stuff like this eventually in the future too. So like selling shot glasses or other things but I have to find a good place for them. So, anyways, moving on. Let's pull up the questions. El cuestiones. And in the meantime, how have you guys enjoyed? Like, the last 2 weeks have been kind of a kick in the ass for Star Citizen fans. I felt like it's like it's been kind of draggy up to this point. And a lot of people are like, well, they haven't really shown off a lot of content. A lot of people are kind of drifting away. The last 2 weeks, like last week with fucking Aaron just being like, oh, here's all of this kick-ass stuff. Oh, you thought we were done? Drop the mic. I'm out.
You could tell
You
he was
know?
happy. You could tell he was
Yeah.
happy when he did it. He's like, this is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah. They're going to lose their fucking minds. And we did.
Yeah.
We lost our fucking minds, you know?
Flamer.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah. So the first question comes from Board Gamers Conscious. Board Gamer, will you go to Gamescom and what day?
What? So what and do what?
Are you going to Gamescom?
Next question.
I should be going to Gamescom. I'm planning to do all the events I can this year.
And what
Relatively
day?
Close. All of the days, probably.
So all the
because why
days.
would yeah, I
Okay.
assume so. I mean, is it like for like several weeks or something? Like 4 days. I'll do up to 4 days, and I'll be there for like the weekend. I'll be in the bar. If you want to know where I find me, I'll be drunk in the bar. Go, buy me a drink. I'm a YouTuber.
Star Citizen.
God, you don't.
Where I'm from, I'm famous. Yeah.
I'm internet famous.
So yes, some days.
Are any of you guys going to Gamescom as well, or is it just Board? Why are you going? Because I know you're.
I plan to, yeah. Should be a good thing to do. Yeah. Sounds.
I would like to go one year, but you know.
Where's our invites? The Gamescoms.
The stream from Gamescoms. Yeah.
Sean Tracy has the.
No. I'm sorry, Sean Tracy. I'm sorry. You didn't make No Man's Sky. I'm sorry.
He just tweets a video of your invite. It has your name on it. He's just like,
Noted. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
All right, so Pappy asks, to the cast, which ships do you think are working working on besides the known and shown?
Oh,
The unknown ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
We really don't know.
I don't talk about bullshit, so none.
Well, I
what's
mean,
the question again?
the idea is that what kind of ships do you think they're working on other than the known and shown? I don't think.
Oh, not the names? Oh, because I don't
other
know
ones.
names.
No,
Well, Ben
which ships?
Lesnick said they were getting ready to start working on more, career, kind of mid-sized career-oriented, profession-oriented ships. So they may be.
So, what else do we have to go on concept?
Concepting
It's
some
the Aegis Eclipse 600, that new Banu ship, which is going to be the next one, the Volpa.
We also have the Vroom Vroom, which was hinted a couple of months ago, which we've yet to see.
Jet bike. Yeah.
Mist racing bike.
What I'd
And
like
so-
to see would be ships that are not necessarily players would fly, and so they wouldn't necessarily have to be like high in fidelity. But I always imagine these ships, even from the Aurora ES, to kind of be like slightly higher tier ships, for actual spacefaring individuals. But I'd like to see, like in the sky, let's say you're in ArcCorp and you're looking up and you're looking at all the different skylines and all the different ships, and you can say, oh, that's an Origin ship, that's a this, that's a that. I'd like to see these more municipal kind of just like everyman ships, just
The Cutlass
it would look
Green
yeah,
or brown, like the one that picks up all the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Family
things to make
ships.
the world kind of like live and breathe.
Families.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's no family sedan ship in Star Citizen. Who's gonna buy a freelancer to take their family,
Because,
around town?
I'll tell you why, Maya, they don't have that, because everyone's a single man in Star Citizen.
There are no women in Star Citizen. Confirmed. Thank you. Thank you, board.
What
No.
about a prospector-sized reclamation ship?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, as you say,
Like we know that's coming. It has to be there.
Entry level
we need
profession ships.
we need prospector-sized salvage, repair. We already maybe refueling ships. These sorts of things. Smuggling ships. We haven't really seen any just dedicated smugglers, other than maybe the.
But would you want your ship to be known to be a smuggling ship?
dedicated smuggling ship of Drake's dedicated smuggler range.
Well, no, I
Arrest
mean,
that man. Go arrest that man right now because he's in a smuggling ship.
what I mean by that is like a ship that's like a cargo ship that is known to have a lot of.
That's
and-
Hull C. That's the Hull C.
But the whole sea's got a bunch of stuff on the outside. I mean, like interior, like hidey holes, like a ship.
Doesn't
like,
the Phoenix have some inside
the Connie
hiding
does.
stuff?
The Connie does, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'd like
these are like ships that have like supplementary. Like
Right.
they do mostly other things, but they kind of smuggle.
I
mean like the fucking
I'm
Millennium
hoping-
Falcon, like a ship that's designed as a cargo ship that just everyone knows uses as smuggling.
I want to be able to do smuggling in any ship. That's the
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
Yeah,
but
but I
I'd
mean,
also,
yeah.
I'd like to be able to take out a component and go, well, I'm going to do with one less shield today, and I'm going to have a load of cocaine.
Yep.
A cocaine shield.
I think
Cooking shield.
smuggling, it would surprise me if it came down to certain types of containers more than having like compartments on the ships, because it's going to be about getting scammed. So
Yeah.
having like fancy high-end containers to put your shit in that are masked or put off a fake signal or something like that wouldn't surprise me for the bigger ships anyway.
Why is this container shielded? Because
Yeah.
radiation?
Because it's got cocaine in it.
It's a hazardous material.
Yeah.
From the cocaine.
So instead of seeing
But
instead of seeing an actual new ships and stuff for smuggling, I'd like to see components that you can use for that kind of thing. So like you're talking about for shielding. So for instance, the Aurora, and I like the Aurora, so it's always my my example ship. But it has that clipping thing, right? Like the CL comes with a large cargo box. But what's to stop them from making like a sealed cargo box, or like a heavy duty cargo box, which you can use for smuggling? Because I think that selling a ship that just has a lot of hidey holes in the floor who's gonna buy that? You know, like I mean, I know that the Constellation has. Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense for
You
a
know?
smaller ship like a Buccaneer or something that doesn't have dedicated storage to have funky little drawers
Look,
and stuff like that.
So it depends on what kind of level of smuggling we're talking about. If you can conceal it on your body or in like a weapons rack or something, I think that's totally fine and cool. But
Right.
some of
And there
the
will be
other
data
levels of
smuggling.
smuggling that people want to do, I mean, maybe it'll be cool if you can have like fake components which you literally open up and use as hidey holes and stuff like that. It depends on exactly how much of a mechanic they actually want that. Like,
Yeah.
if you're smuggling in, like, can you make a huge amount of money out of smuggling little tiny products, or is it just going to be
I mean, there has to.
throwaway thing? Or...
That's the idea. Is like,
I mean,
being able to smuggle something is like, if I'm looking at like Elite as an example for smuggling, you can make something like 4 times the standard going rate for even at a peak demand for by going to the black market. You can make a fuck ton of money with black market stuff. And that makes sense. Like, being able to have small amounts of very expensive shit, like having a couple kilos of cocaine you're going to sell at a station may net you as much money as an entire whole A's worth of, space potatoes.
And that's the thing too, is most stuff that anybody wants to smuggle, even in the real world, I mean, there are exceptions, but most of it is small
Quantities.
It's precious gems, drugs, things that are worth a lot of money, but aren't necessarily like a cargo container's worth of something.
And then when you see those cargo containers worth of like filled with like weed, you're like, holy shit, this must be someone massive organization doing this, because you don't normally see that kind of stuff,
Well,
so
That's why I kind of want to see like maybe an item you can buy, like smuggle tape that you can use to like tape like a cabinet, and then it's like protected, or like
Meyer, that's called duct tape. That's called duct
That's what
tape.
toilets are for.
Don't look.
like so it shields the compartment from a scanner, or maybe like a small a box that you can like keep in your like captain's chamber in the staff area that's protected. I mean,
That's
like,
why we have all the toilets on all the ships, is so you can flush everything into your waste tank and then dump it when you get to your destination.
I'm sticking by the smuggle tape.
In the theme of this, though, you have let's say, for example, the Herald. It's got those modules outside, the data modules, right? What Board Gamer was saying is make it so you can take a component out and replace it with something that looks like the component that isn't. Now, the Herald is optimized for buggering off and getting from point A to point B, and its whole function in life is to not get shot by getting away. So why wouldn't you use that to smuggle? To me, that would be...
No, it is a smuggling
Also,
ship.
another aspect of this that we're not considering is the symbiosis that is Star Citizen's gameplay. I mean, it's not just the person who's trying to hide the cargo. It's also up to the people who are trying to scan for the cargo, and whether or not they're using active or passive systems, and how are they tweaking the active systems to look in specific locations, and are they able to look in different spectrums, and how. So there's going to be a lot that they're going to be doing using other crew positions or other ships entirely that are going to be an entire part of that in and of itself as well. So a lot of different ways for them to approach it.
I mean, and also, it could be your crew as well that are smuggling, but not you. If you're captain of a ship, everyone's got diamonds shoved up their ass. Crew. You don't know. I mean, will you get some form, if everyone's captured, will you get some form of, like, restriction put on you, or go to prison? I don't know.
Yeah, that depends. Like, if is it
Interesting,
UE
isn't
space? Is there a rule that the
This is what happens when you ask
their crew
when you ask us about
crew?
what are the other ships that haven't been mentioned or known about. We just start going into fucking shoving
Smuggle
diamonds
tape.
up, smuggle tape, and shoving diamonds up our ass. That's what we.
How do I shove diamonds?
Going back to that question, though, one thing I would like to see eventually, and I know it'll happen eventually, but is more small profession ships, even if we players can't fly them yet, but for alien races. I mean, to really have a fleshed out Star Citizen, there needs to be even Vanduul are going to have to go out there and transport and mine and
there has to be Banu miners. There also has to be Banu fighters. There has to be Xi'an, repair ships. Like just needs to happen. Salvage ships,
or the just like the luxury liners and stuff. I mean, they're going to have to have their just people transports.
The Xi'an jump, the mispresents the I don't know what was their naming scheme, the Xeno jump or whatever.
Xeno jump.
I don't know.
I can't read chat anymore because it's too funny.
Being that it's the Xi'an, they'd probably have something like the flying lip. Because they're all very zen.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting to come out with more of those
birds.
ships, because they really haven't shown us a lot, the other aliens. I mean, we've seen a bit of the Von Duel fleet and what that offers, but we haven't seen outside the military.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they're promising a lot of that stuff. I'm hoping that they're either working on it now or starting to get development on that going pretty soon. Necessary.
Next question.
Next question. Pappy asks to the cast, if you had to pick a profession ship, what would you choose and why? I think we already we covered that a little bit, like various different other professions, and kind of covered that from the last one. Last one, or not last one. We have two more, so we can always get some more questions, guys. If you guys have any more questions. Otherwise, this would be the shortest captain's table in the history of captain's tables.
Where are the questions?
Crotalius asks, 2.7 will have 3 moons. Planet V2 Tech Testbed, Olisar, Dragonfly, and Ursa Rover, and anything else. First iterations, core mechanics, ready for your testing, because they want 3.0s. That's not a question, this is a statement.
Next question.
So basically, yeah, no, basically that's what we
that.
talked about it, you know. Green Fox Leader says, great from hearing from you all today. My question is, having seen the development so far, do we still feel like this was a 10+ year game after the release, of course? Yeah. Easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
It
If anything,
just depends on
it's a
how
20-year game.
well supported it is in the end. And I know just by looking at what's being done now, I get no idea that they're gonna just make it and then dump it. Right? It doesn't sound like something Chris Roberts
Right.
has in his brain to just make a game and leave.
No,
It's
Chris has
very
actually
much-
said he wants to stick with it for years.
Yeah.
Very much the feeling when I went to the Foundry 42 studio was they want to support it for many years. They want to become what looks like a game studio like Blizzard. And I mean, I want to start questioning them about stuff that they're going to do after Episode 3's done. Like, are they going to consider doing other games properly? Have they got anything in the works?
Sorry to cut in, but I really want them to buy the Mech Warrior license so that Sean Tracy can make a Mech Warrior game. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
with the tech they have now, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of the stuff they've got with the new Star Engine and Lumberyard combined is very accessible. As well, Lumberyard's incredibly accessible to anyone, even people like me. I could start learning how to do a lot of stuff with that engine, and it allows for a lot of talent to be able to do mods for games and do mods for Star Citizen, but also for the future of their company and the future of other games. Like, there's so much they could do in the future. And I know we haven't got Star Citizen yet, and I know we're like, oh, you're thinking about the future, but I like this development cycle. I love what they've done with the development of games. I want this to be 100%, billion% successful, and for other games to be developed in a way that I can get involved with and go, well, I'm an armchair developer, I'm an armchair QA now, and
Yep.
I get a game that I really, really like, and I was part of.
And you got to
I'm just
remember
hoping they do so much more.
that like 4 years of this game development was getting the studio set up. So any kind of game, like for instance, the reason why they say basically, hey, Squadron 42 Episode 2 will be out in a year or two from the original release, is because they got all the back end done. They've got all of their studios done. Once they get everything done in the long run, the biggest hurdle for them is more like, where do we go next? And then point the people they already have at the problem. And it'll take much faster. We'll actually see a 2-3 year turnaround. Look at games like We Are Harebrained, or Harebrained Schemes, the company that's making the BattleTech game. They made Shadowrun, they're making BattleTech. They've made a couple other games beforehand, and they're turning them around in 2 or 3 years because they have a studio in place that they're just dropping games like bam, 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 bam. Now that they've done their first Kickstarter, they're able to do like a ton of different Kickstarters just to keep working on these games, and they know how to do it. So once you know how to do it, it's much easier. It's obvious, much easier.
And there's a bunch of stuff just from stretch goals and everything from back in the day that aren't even, they've even come out and said will absolutely not be included until after release, just because they're not priorities. Things like pets.
Whoa! No, that's
I know. I'm looking forward to
I
it
want to
too.
smuggle them.
Unplayable. I'm done.
Smuggling pets with smuggle tape.
Well, and like, remember, we're supposed to get like fuzzy dice in our cockpits
Pick
and
your
hula
pet.
girls and be able to customize our
Wrap.
ships and the interiors. And and all that stuff. It's just not a priority. It's not a basic element of gameplay.
I
But
think there's a long step
Yeah.
between having like an in-game like a asset written in a database and having the actual asset in the game. But I remember for a few ATVs, it has to be a few months now, but they did mention having actual animals as cargo at one point. So whether or not it'd be a cargo
You're right,
box or
yeah.
something, like a giant one for animals, or if they'd actually recognize animals, I don't know. But I wouldn't. I
How
wouldn't.
many animals can I put into a box before Peter try and shut the game?
I've actually
Wait until you see the triggers in terms of slaves, because slave trade is also in this
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Wait until you see how many
Just
people you can
wrap
shove
this-
into a cargo container. You know.
Hanger
I actually-
flare, smuggle tape dispenser. On the wall.
nice.
I
Here's
don't
your
like
your
the
slaves.
idea.
Hmm.
I don't like the idea of slaves because it just seems inefficient. People are inefficient. Get some machines. Just get
Yeah,
a
future
robot to do it, and then
Yeah,
the slaves going, "Oh, the robots took our jobs." Yeah,
But
shut
it's
up.
but it's
Get a
but it's
slave for your robot.
but it's part of the Banus culture, and there's a couple of human cultures that
Yeah.
use them, that kind of stuff. So
Mm.
you know, and it makes sense. I mean, slavery exists, and sci-fi, as always, is a commentary on the real world, and slavery still exists in one shape or form around the world,
It's
illegally
what-
or legally.
what
And so
I
it's important
don't
to
like
understand that as a like
It's the idea of play slavery, where people can be sold into slavery. It's just too complicated.
That is a little
It gets
complicated.
too complicated.
Yeah.
It's lots
Wait,
of
can
weird
players
stuff.
be sold into slavery?
The idea was that for good players could be sold into slavery, and bad players could be arrested and thrown into jail. That was the idea at one point. Was
Right,
was the
I
kind of the
see.
combination too.
And it's like, there's a point where you press a button and subsumption takes over slave you, and then you get to be you again, or what?
Exactly. I mean, this is the
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
they-
It's too complicated. You just don't have
Yeah.
slavery for players. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Boom.
Right. But
So-
here's a real question though: how many kittens could you cram into one SCU?
That's a good question. Gray,
One
Gray,
second, one
That is the
Are
real
the
Great.
kittens alive or dead?
Gray. You need to bring back Star Citizen Island just so you can figure out how many kittens can
Yep.
you fit into one SCU with smuggle tape.
Yes.
So going back to pets though, that's one of those features that would surprise me if it actually came in earlier rather than post-release, because of procedural planets coming in sooner, which was supposed to be a post-release thing originally. They're gonna have to do subsumption for fauna on planets.
Mhm.
And if they have that system, really, what's the difference between porting that into a cat that runs around your ship
Oh,
versus
that's a-
an alien that runs around on a planet?
that's
It's really
a good
right.
point. Can I blend
Yeah.
the kittens first?
Pancake cat.
Can you refine them into a paste or something? Anyway,
Can I use them to run my ship? That's the question.
Oh my
Turn
God.
Turn them into a fine fuel to run. Can I run my ship on
Captain's table
cute?
ever.
Yeah.
in titanium.
That's what afterburner fuel is. No.
Afterburner fuel is kitten.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
2.7 speculation and liquid cats.
I have an unrelated question though, guys. So from the citizens of the well, I mean, there's only so much you can talk about kittens, but like with I think it's Citizens of the Verse a while ago, where I think they were interviewing Sherry for like the how many questions
Quantum
you can
questions.
answer.
Yeah.
The quantum questions, a really cool name by the way for a question line. Anyway, but like basically they asked her something about the Banu. And you know how we're like, oh yeah, the Banu are slave traders, they're merchants, they're this, that, the other. It was interesting to note that she mentioned that the Banu do not keep notes.
They keep records.
Keep
yeah.
slaves. Or
Yeah, they don't keep
records.
records. But like, the reason why we have written language on Earth is because we needed a way of keeping records. So
fact,
if these guys are
The
What's
first actual ever written record is a ledger for beer.
right,
It's the oldest
So,
oldest thing we have is a
recipes.
ledger for beer. It's a
So,
ledger of how many
yeah,
beers we have in our
because-
storage unit. Yeah, go
It's a way
ahead.
of
Yeah.
recording knowledge.
Because
yeah. So
we
like,
don't,
yeah,
because we
Go
don't
on.
know much about the Banu at the moment, they are
Right.
supposed to be alien. Like, keeping
Mhm.
records is a very human concept compared to whatever alien concept they want to come up with the Banu. So they
they
can
might
do
have
lots
like
of
an
cool
eidetic
stuff.
memory or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Genetic, eidetic, lots of stuff
Mhm.
they could do with it. I mean, their
Yeah.
ships could literally be their
Mhm.
records for all
Yeah.
we know.
Data by
Lots of-
smell. You have seen their faces, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. We have bioluminescent Van Duel. Who knows with
Mm.
Banu?
I smell your history.
They could also be
Talk
psychic.
about having a
and
rotten past.
and passing psychic stuff, because we know that they also have a religion. That's the only thing that ties them all together. That there's a one central location for their religion. But even though they're fractured, like there are some Banu that are like pure communist society, pure monarch society, pure republics, pure democratic.
They're very city-state,
oligarchies.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Banu
Each planet is its own kind of government structure based on the people who run those planets. They're all very loosely associated. So we call them the Banu, but that's the race. It's not really a unified race at all. So
Maybe they're hive people.
They're high people like mind flayers, yeah. The mother brain somewhere.
all right, so now we've got a lot of questions. The next question comes from Mary Boffkill. For those of you Americans who don't know this is fuck, Mary Kill. Mary Boffkill, Buccaneer M50 and Prospector. We'll start with Noob Fire, and then we'll move.
What's the question? Which one would I take?
So Mary, have you heard of Mary Boffkill? Fuck,
Not
Mary
yet.
Kill.
You're about to tell me.
Okay, so fuck,
Don't marry avoid.
Mary kill. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's essentially a which one would you marry? Which one would you have a fling with, and which one would you kill out of all those three? If you had all those choices and those three options.
Okay, so I like diversity in the universe, but I don't like the Buccaneer. It doesn't have staying power. M50 is sexy as shit, so I'd probably marry that. And Prospector is good to make money, so I would fling that one.
Okay, Meyer.
Well, again, Prospector, if you want to actually have a profession in the game, you could be a really good racer in that case. That could be a profession. But so Prospector would be Mary, then Boff would be M50 because I suck at racing. And then I'd kill the Buccaneer because I'm tired of fighting ships.
I would marry the Prospector because it's stable. It's a stable job. It's routine. It's
You don't know that yet.
but it's more routine
It
than
could
freaking.
be boring.
It could be boring, but you know what?
But
Boring
it's a
with
provider.
money. Provider.
Yeah,
It's a
I
provider.
know.
A boring provider is better. And then I'll have a fling with the Buccaneer on the side because I like me some exciting piracy. And fuck the M50 because that thing's hard to hit. Fuck that thing. Fuck that thing.
Get
so
outta
hard.
here.
Kill it.
Blast
Murder
it outta
it.
here.
Murder it.
Get the smuggle tape ready for him.
Lord.
So marry, fuck, kill. Yeah. Okay. So marry the Prospector. That's what you're going to use in the verse. It's going to make you money. You love it very much. Have sex with anything. It's been a while. No, the Buccaneer, because I mean no one likes an M50 really. So people pretend they like the M50 because look, it's a really pretty ship. Everything's pretty in Star Citizen. No one really likes M50s. A couple of people
M50s.
raced them once. I heard back in the past. People were like, racing. That's before we had the Herald and ships like that. The M50 looks beautiful, but I don't even own one, and that's saying something. Kill.
I don't know you anymore.
Nighthawk.
Okay, so honestly, I'm married to my Karak. Hard to say otherwise.
If the Carrack was not an option, you got to
wasn't-
those three.
I know it's not an option, but
I blew it up.
I have to say it.
So who would your mistress be then instead of your
Okay,
wife?
my mistress.
other
that's-
Mary.
Of those
Yeah.
three. Of those three.
The ship that I up to now have flown the most is my M50.
Okay.
But because I'm used to the M50, I would take the Buccaneer over the M50 because they're very similar in terms of their flight mechanics.
And so you'd
And
kill.
I like the bigger teeth.
So you'd kill the Prospector.
You
have to kill one of them.
Probably. Yeah.
You have to
because
kill one of them.
If I'm being honest, out of all the upcoming game mechanics, mining is actually the one I'm least interested in. I have more interest in cargo than I
you
do in
monster!
mining. I know. I'm sorry. We can't be friends then.
It's okay. You can do cargo for other people that are doing mining.
There
We
you
can
go.
all get along. Yeah.
That's what I have a caterpillar for.
Perfect.
Grit, how about you?
I'm right there with everybody else. I think marry the Prospector. It provides. It's nice little cozy
You can't. She's mine.
professionship. Kill the M50 because that thing just pisses me off every time I have to shoot those pirate M50s. And the Buccaneer, I mean, it's a wild ride. It's got tons of firepower, and you black out real easily.
Yeah.
And then you get thrown clear at the end. So it's-
You black out so hard in that
Perfect.
thing. It's the perfect fling because you're just gonna go hard and black out and wake up going, "What the fuck just happened?" You know.
Exactly.
You want to know the best way to learn how to fly an M50? Battle Royale, no weapons. See how long you can survive.
See how long you can survive.
Just run.
Yeah.
Missile spam.
Because everybody goes after the M50 as soon as it shows up. Everybody
You
does.
want to get that thing down as soon as you can.
Because it's so annoying.
It's worth no points either, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's like a gnat or a mosquito. Just pesters.
So, InShiv asks, hacking, how will it work? We're not CIG developers, so we don't know. We can give you a bunch of bullshit or a bunch of measured content, but
There's some great movies from the 80s you should check out that explain hacking perfectly.
No, I think the questions are like, is it going to be integrated into Spectrum? Am I going to be able to eavesdrop on people in Spectrum Discord? You know, all those types of things. And all of that to me is something that we need to not necessarily worry about later, but it's not critical to game development right now. And it has a potential to break the game. So they have to be very, very careful, because if they make it part of Spectrum that I can just be hacked, believe me, I'm going to go back to Discord.
Yeah.
There's that, you know, like they technically can't put it in such a way that I could circumvent it and gain an advantage.
So
Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah.
Also, there's E-War, so that might be something else that they're asking about. So right now we have ballistic weapons, we have laser weapons, we also have electronic warfare weapons, and those ones, the third category hasn't been released yet. And with those things, you get things like data spikes and like data chaff and all that kind of stuff, which you can use to like hack somebody's ship systems. Maybe, hopefully, you know, like get them in a specific way and make them like vents out like their cargo or something, you know.
I think that's the dream with the
doors.
Sentinel, isn't it? People flying around the Sentinel, making other ships vent their cargo and stuff.
Yeah.
But there is going to be some forms of hacking and E-Wars type stuff. We just don't know how it's fully implemented yet.
We just don't
Yeah.
know. I don't even think CIG does. They have a general concept idea of how it's supposed to work, but like we're so far, like we have to get 2 item the streaming, whatever the hell that damn thing's called now. The streaming container system, that whole stuff needs to be in place before they can even talk about hacking.
As for facilitated metagaming, like Noobify was pointing to, like being able to get in-game items to actually like you know, get into people's comms and stuff like that. I don't know just how, because you say exactly like the moment they do that, then
They can't do.
people,
Gone.
people will move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone,
Yeah.
not just some people, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
All right. Next question is from Richard Sky. Do you all think that the mini game shown for mining will be OP in 3.0? Or will be in 3.0?
The what? Sorry.
OP.
The OP. No, will be the mini game that they showed for mining, like how you mine with the mini game, like how you have to scan for resources and then mine it and then collect it, all that kind of stuff.
I missed that. Is there a link to that?
Yeah.
That was
So
a
there's
while ago.
That was a long
There's a
time
document.
ago.
Yeah.
There's actually a
okay.
document for mining.
Last year.
And
When they released
like,
the Orion, I think. Is when
Orion.
they
Oh,
actually
right.
released-
Yeah.
That,
Right.
oh, okay.
It was
Right.
tuning
okay.
frequencies and
Yeah.
yes and no. What's supposed to happen is everything that's all the different functions of the Orion are supposed to be in the prospector on a smaller scale, except for the refining part. And one person should be able to do all those functions from one seat. Scanner operator, beam operator, cargo operator, all that stuff. Everything except for the refinery operator, because as I said, no refinery, just separation.
And you should still have the hand tools mining stuff still exists.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you can still go out and mine out the stuff and bring it back if you don't have a prospector.
But I
Small
don't
armies.
don't expect the full, the way that they said in the document. Don't expect it to release like that at 3.0. They did specifically say rudimentary. So scan, collect.
Yeah.
Like almost like Conan, how you're just gonna go bonk on some
Right.
rock somewhere
point
and then pick it up.
laser at.
Yeah.
Right. But it's coming soon.
Yeah, I imagine mining and that kind of stuff to be, you know, in terms of scanning, to be similar to how scanning was done for like water and stuff in Battlestar Galactica. If you guys remember from, I think, season 1 or something like that, they were looking for like ice, and then it's basically what they showed us, you know, like simple, but you know, not too simple
Takes
as it would
time.
be boring, you know.
Yeah.
For all these little mini games and stuff for different professions, you know, I just hope that they'll be deep enough that people can actually spend time to get really good. Good enough that no one else can just sit down and be as good as you.
Yeah.
There aren't leveling and stuff like that, so you need that level of technicality. Otherwise, you're pretty much expendable, right?
I still want a small level of random chance that a noob could sit down in his ship and find something awesome. Just like that.
Yeah.
I want that chance for that sort of just occasional super rare loot drop, effectively, for mining or whatever.
You could stumble across a really rare asteroid, something like that.
But the noob stumbles upon the asteroid made of diamonds and just set forever.
Yeah, and to be honest, because we're not doing a leveling thing, we're doing a skill-based thing as far as many things are considered. A skill-based and an asset-based, in terms of money and stuff like that. I don't see why not, If a noob sits down and they press some random buttons and it's like, ping, hey, look, you're rich forever, then that's
what I
lot,
mean.
right?
What I mean is that I don't want it to be too predictable.
Right.
I love being able to go, this is a good way of making money in the verse.
Uh-huh.
I don't want there to be, this is the best way of making money in the verse, because it's 100% repeatable and predictable. I don't want that for Star Citizen. I want to be a bit reactionary.
Yeah. Well, I'm remembering that design doc, they definitely talked about, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a simplified kind of automatic mining, and it's probably not very profitable, not very efficient. You make a little bit of money, it's easy, it's quick. And then remembering that document they put out, there were things like, it was about tuning frequencies on your laser, and then if the makeup of the asteroid or whatever you were mining had certain elements in it, if you went to a certain frequency, it could make the thing blow up and destroy your ship. Or so the more skilled you get with that, you can probably do the quick automated thing, make a little bit of money, but then if you really take the time to tweak everything and fine-tune stuff, you probably make a ton more money.
I mean, there were two things. There were frequency. So harmonics and power were the two things that you had to keep in balance. And as far as automation is concerned, you could just go get an AI.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the same thing as what you're trying to do.
Yep.
Right. But would you trust the AI to the thing that can blow you up?
Exactly. And if it's a bad AI, a cheap AI, it might blow you up. You might have a higher risk. And,
Yeah, I mean, a certain degree of RNG would be really helpful for the game, healthy for the game even, and we know that they've been trying to implement that in things even to flight, right? So if your ship is pristine, you're going to be, more or less fine, but if your guns or your ship's damaged, then they want your ship to kind of have this error curve or whatever, where it's jittery or something and it doesn't fly 100% the way you want it to. So with that in mind, I kind of hope that there will be that kind of level of randomness with that kind of stuff. I mean, you said, Board, you didn't want, for instance, there to be one single way for there to be, this is the way of making money in the verse. Well, I think that they're going about that the right way with their whole dynamic quest system that they're putting in. There isn't going to be one single walkthrough, from what we can tell, in Star Citizen for a quest line or a quest chain, because they're going to be 4 different paths or something that quests can fork into, depending on if you if you quantum jump somewhere or if you do this, that, the other. I mean, hopefully it's it's immersive in a way that the game you play is you and not just a scripted, chosen one thing that you see in other games like that.
And part of that's balance too, balancing the cost of things, talking about the risk of mining and something going wrong and blowing up and causing damage to your ship. So if you can make more money by being more precise and actually not doing the automated thing, it can't be that you can make more money in that one pass than it would cost to repair your ship if something went wrong. Because then every time you do it, why not just do that and doesn't matter if my ship gets damaged because I'm gonna make twice as much anyways. So it's all in how they balance the cost and the reward. And,
well, it's that economy, man. If they get the economy right and there are swings where 1 week, it's going to be really profitable to be a miner, or 1 week it's going to be really profitable to be in selling armor or something because of the way the economy works and because certain things and events have happened. That's going to be great. That's going to be really interactive, really fun, really dynamic, and it's so hard to do though, and it just boggles my mind how they're going to do it.
I think that's
that's
the thing that's holding up 3.0. I think more than anything is that's subsumption. That's essentially subsumption and how the subsumption is going to work.
Yep.
And because of that, they're trying to build subsumption on a basis that it's going to be that fucking complicated, and it's going to take a long time to get it that complicated the right way, even at a basic level. Once you get it at the basic level, it's easier to scale up. But that's why 3.0 it's going to take a fucking long ass time just because subsumption isn't working properly, and they want to make sure.
I wonder if that'll lead to some kind of like meta thing where players start tracking like the most active areas of the universe where the most players are, because otherwise if it's just the back-end simulation and not a lot of clients are going there, the economy might be very balanced and stable. So versus, I wonder if it could lead to a situation where
you also have events like
people are like, hey, nobody's been hanging out in this system for like a week, we should all go there, can make a ton of money. Because the economy is super stable, but everywhere there's a ton of players and it's affecting the economy constantly, it's super unpredictable. It could lead to these weird kind of migrations of players trying to follow stable economy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll ever be a case of players influencing the economy that way, but definitely riding the waves of change of the economy as NPCs, change things around. Yeah,
following it around, kind of.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how that emerging kind of stuff.
There's one point that I wanted to bring up about the idea of scanning for rocks in a prospector or an Orion. That's great, and that needs to happen. However, what I really need to happen is the exploration ship most definitely has an advantage in its capability of scanner. Yep. So like your Carrack, your Endeavor, your money makers, that way, they go in, they scan, and either they can scan a broad area and get the same level of fidelity that the prospector could get at short range. There has to be that gameplay where there's a need for the explorer to go in first. Like your org will send the guy in to prospect. The role, not the ship, right? The prospector, that's so shitty because there's a job called prospector, which is in exploration. So he goes in and says, yes, this is where you want to go. And then the prospectors fly in, or a Terrapin, a smaller scanner ship, and they work together. Anyways, working together.
That's the key.
Christ,
is that
let's have that.
The mining ships need to have really high resolution at a very short range, whereas exploration needs to have very high resolution at a distance, but it won't necessarily be able to scan things up close.
Beam, like you were talking about earlier at the beginning of the show, that they say, okay, there's something here, but now we really focus and we get a real answer, and then you give a guy a grid, and you say that's where you want to mine, and have something there for him.
Yep.
Going back to what I was saying too about the automated versus going into higher detail to make more money, like that could play into that as well, because it may make more sense if you're a dedicated miner that likes to actually get their hands dirty and do the whole fine tuning the mining laser to make more of a profit. It may be more beneficial to you to buy mining information rather than spend time scanning, because you spend more time mining.
Or link up with a person who wants to share the spoils, right?
So it's all
you find that guy
symbiotic,
who's really good at finding the stuff, and you're really good at getting it out of the rock.
Alrighty,
because otherwise you'd have to scan and do the long mining process.
Moving on. The next big question is from Pathogen, who says, do you think the Buccaneer what do you think of the Buccaneer now that it's out? OP? It's OP. You know it is. It's not OP. All ships that first come out are OP because people don't know how to counter them, and because CIG...
I don't think it's OP at all. I think it's pretty good.
It's not a very good solo ship. Like, you're going to get wrecked solo versus a Saber or a Super Hornet, but it's designed as a foil. It's intentional. In fact, I was talking with Matt Sherman last night. He was on my stream, and he said specifically it's a foil for these Sabers and the Super Hornets. It's designed as that medium side where, like, if you're not paying attention to it, it'll fuck you up. But it's not that if you focus it, it's fucked. So. Yes,
it's not OP.
No.
Right now, when it comes apart, unlike all other ships, it comes apart and it breaks immediately. Yep. It is a paper Hornet, and that's what it was sold as. Mm-hmm. So if you were expecting something else, time to melt it.
Yeah.
Next, a paper Hornet.
Next question comes from Bloody Moon. Question: if you had to pick one major feature from Star Citizen yet to be announced, what would it be?
Yes, to be announced.
Yeah,
so
I don't even.
No, nothing. I think the only
dragons, like Jada says.
Dragons.
Worms? Oh wait, we've already got worms.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe colonization, like maybe like building your own colony, but that's already kind of announced anyways with the
planetary bombardment.
Yeah, planetary bombardment. Space whales. How about you, Byron? Space whales?
Yeah. I want to be a space whale farmer. I want to sell space whale milk. That's my
space whale milk.
Space smuggle tape.
Space whale oil.
I'd like stocks and shares. I'd like to control factories on a large scale, I'd like to do a lot of the industrial and economic stuff.
Isn't that already stuff going to be planned for the game anyways, though?
Not really. I mean, they've talked about economic nodes and factory nodes, but not like properly being in control of them in a way like I'm thinking.
I think that'll change though, just because of just the sheer size of planets that we have now with the control. There's going to be a lot more of that kind of bring your prospector into a factory that you own that you can buy the materials for kind of stuff, because it's so expensive that it's end level stuff anyways. You know, like if we already have fucking we're gonna have fucking farming. We're gonna have to build. We can build fucking like giant ass farms on planets. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
You know what would be cool? So I reference Star Trek a lot, but so Deep Space Nine, being somebody in charge of a station and the daily runnings of a station. So not necessarily even players, but like, you know, being able to, like, you know, be the boss of NPCs running a station and you know, like micromanaging. Yeah, exactly. That'd be awesome.
Cisco confirmed.
Yeah,
Sim Citizen. It's all Sim Citizen now.
Exactly.
Then the Kardashians can come. Whatever, right? With their butts.
The key is that a lot of this stuff, you know, even the stuff that we're talking about, is stuff that's been mentioned before, but not until way later after they've gotten everything released. And I think that stuff would be cool, but you know. Mayonnaise asks, do you think they will make an announcement when Squadron 42 enters into beta? No.
There's no beta.
It's gonna launch.
They'll make an announcement when it goes gold, which is
we'll get a vertical slice. We'll see it.
Yeah.
Like I think that's still the plan, right? To see it, to hype it up, and then I think it's gonna come out.
Yeah, they'll announce it when it goes gold, which is a standard for industry when it's ready to be printed on CDs, because they do have limited physical discs they're going to be releasing. So when it reaches that standard of going gold, it will probably be released within a couple of weeks, you know, because they really don't have that bad.
I thought they had mentioned something about maybe doing the physical copies
after. They will. That's the thing, and that's and if they do that, but if they say they're at a going gold standard, which is a kind of a standard term.
I don't even have a CD player or DVD player in my.
I don't either anymore either. The real question is, when will we at all get a Squadron 42 schedule report?
I think we'll get it later. I think a lot of that stuff has to happen. Like, we basically have to get to 3.0 before we see Squadron 42.
And then we get Squadron. Yeah.
What do you think would be in a Squadron 42 schedule report, though? I mean, apart from we're working on it, and this is when we think it's going to come out, because
percentage,
you don't want
just a bar, one bar.
Exactly, because you don't want too much information, because at the end of the day, it's a single-player game, right? So the more information they give you, the less magic, even if...
Well, it'll be story-specific stuff. It would be like level polish or...
I think a lot of us would...
Fix bug in mission 1.1, you know...
A lot of us would
mission text updates
for an estimated timeline.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just saying, we think it might be coming out...
Citizen Con.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, like
perfect timing. Launch
a progress bar that keeps going back and forth depending on how they
buffering.
The problem is that the systems they use, and I think we've talked about this before here, is the systems they use is great for about 30 days. After about 30 days, the prediction just gets way fuck off. It's just not a very good system beyond that. So if we don't see it, it means it's not a month away. Yep. I think when we get to that month distance where it's about to be released, that's when we'll start seeing those progress reports.
I almost don't want to know.
Honestly, I'm kind of against it.
I'm kind of same here.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have a schedule report for Squadron. I would just like to have somebody say, "Hey,
download it,
November, whatever."
Yeah, exactly.
That's the day.
Go get it. You're like, what?
Yeah.
All right. So we have a
fall of 2017.
We have a dreaded when question. Whiplash J asks, when is the projected year of final release? The answer is, we have no fucking idea.
There is no projected year.
They don't even know when.
They don't even know when. Now, what
it'll be done when it's done.
I will say that what most people think is that we're probably looking at a release, which is not even a finished, because it's like every MMO, there's going to be releases after the initial release, is probably anywhere between 2 and 4 years from now. And that shows you how much we don't know. We just don't know.
It's such an odd question, though, too. Like you're saying, with MMOs, and especially a game like this, where we have access right now to the the early stages of the alpha. We'll have access to the late stages of the alpha, and when it's in beta, and it could be in beta next year, that's essentially. It's not a live
Yeah.
game, obviously, and there's still stuff being fixed and some stuff polishing going on, but you're
But
still able
everything's
to
finally in
play
place.
the game.
I remember
Yeah.
when games
So-
were released when they were ready, and not everything was on early access. And we also
The glorious
used to get
days
demos.
before Steam.
Petro
Demos
remembers.
again.
I miss demos board.
I think
That's
So
Yeah.
do I. But
Love my
the problem with
demos.
demos is if we gave a demo for a lot of these games that are on Steam now, you wouldn't fucking buy their shitty game.
No.
Exactly.
So
Early access.
Oh.
It's a. You're paying for a demo now. Somebody realized, why are we giving away free demos when we can charge people $15, $20, $30
fuck
and they
you
can
shit games.
play a free demo and then get the regular game?
I want demos again. That's why I like
I do
crowd
too.
PR. Oh,
right.
I'm getting up. See, I'm 32 now. I'm getting old.
Hey, board. I'm gonna blow your mind. You're still considered a millennial.
I'm considered a millennial.
Yes.
Yeah, a
19
millennial is somebody who came of age at by Y2K.
Yep.
So
So you,
you're a millennial.
35 and
definitely
younger.
like-
35 and younger is a millennial right now.
What?
Yeah.
36.
Really?
Thank God.
There are
Crit-
people I play computer games with that were born after 2000.
Yeah.
Wing Commander, Strike Commander.
You're
Those
still in
are
the
what I
same
was
generations.
Yep.
They're millennials.
Yeah.
They were born in the millennium.
So, next question is from
Be a
Sean
millennial
Sean
guy.
Tracy, CIG. A bit embarrassing. It's a bit last minute, but does anyone want to come host at or Gamescom this year? We seem to have made a mistake, as I don't know any content creators by the name of Board Gamer UK.
Oh, fuck you. See, this is why I don't like
Well
you, Sean
done.
Tracy. This is why I said what I said.
They're having a lovers quarrel right now. After Sean praised the fact that he was the nude naked male that was board gamer, the new nude naked male.
I'm sorry, Sean. I'm so sorry.
Prater Meyer asks, Titan armor, what do you expect? Do you see any opportunities for new types of gameplay, or simply in addition to FPS? When do you expect it to be implemented?
Ooh, that's more than FPS.
I definitely think it's more than FPS. I see it as kind of a bridge between on-foot personnel and ship actions, because you can think of anything from, say, Avatar, Aliens, Gundam, whatever you like.
Mech Warrior,
They have
whatever,
everything
yeah.
from the combat base to the industrialized, and they all very purpose driven. And much like the ships in the game already, we have variants for very specific jobs, and we have variants of ships that
Or
do whatever you want
generals,
with it. And we're most likely going to see that with the Titans too, because that's just how CIG builds their stuff.
You need
Speaking of
something
the
to balance
Titans,
in between.
Yes. Speaking of the Titans with like real life, have you seen basically the Titan armor that Intel made?
Yeah.
I'll post it in chat. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Specialized
That was wild.
ships, because Titan armor, I mean, it could be human sized, right? Normal. There are ships that simply won't fit in. So that's that's another thing. So Retaliator drop ship, Connie.
Box
The
it up.
Redeemer,
The
the
Connie
back
Cargo.
Redeemer. You should be able to hoist one into the back Redeemer
Cutlass
and someone
Black,
jump out of
but
it.
The Prowler,
That'd be awesome.
the Prowler, if they do it right, the way the 8 dudes pop out.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
there will be some ships that you would think are going to be good boarding craft that you simply won't be able to.
There is
that in.
no way it's going to fit in the Prowler.
You know, it would be interesting to see if somebody put out a comparison, because they have said that it would probably hold the smallest size ship weapons. So it'd be interesting to see a graphic comparison of a human or in-game character and the size one ship
Stubbins
weapon.
on.
Yeah.
Because then
Yeah.
you'll kind of have an idea of how big the frame needs to be to balance out having
And,
ship
uh,
weapons
I think
on it.
The
Titan-
Retaliator document came out with a specific mention that ship module would support that to
Yeah.
charge.
Nice.
They called it power armor at the
Cool.
time.
Yeah.
But so again,
I think
please CIG Christmas.
I think it's changed. I think what has changed significantly is the planetary landings. Since before planetary landings, the Titan armor was going to be something that you could put into a Retaliator, and I
Yeah.
think since planetary landings, they're looking at them less as power armor and more as mechanized, as like exoskeleton mech suits. And
right.
the reason why is because you need more land content. We have 2 ships, 2 things. We have 3 technically. You've got the Grey Cat, you've got the Ursa, and you've got the Dragonfly, and that's it.
Yep.
3 land vehicles to fit up planets that are like 1/3 the size of Earth.
Technically 4 if you count the links, but they haven't done any work on that yet.
Yeah, so
Well, and on top of that, no way to defend against ships.
they've even said, Sean Tracy even said that like there is a gap between foot combat on ground and air combat, because otherwise air combat is going to wreck all the guys. There needs to be some sort of anti-air, and I think that middle ground is mechs, is the Titan armor, which should be expanded beyond just this power suit armor idea to being, a way that some sort of modular system or some sort of several different types of modular systems that are designed with ship weapons in mind as an anti-ship capabilities.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't think it's really necessarily something to use to destroy ships, but more of a deterrent to negate ships from wanting to engage infantry if somebody's got a Titan suit. It's not like they're just going to shoot at it once and blow up a Connie. It's more of a group of them shooting at something it's gonna piss them off enough that they don't want to get any closer.
it'll damage them enough that
There are other ways.
Yeah.
There are going to be lots of other ways that they deter ships from just winning missions. There's going to be environmental hazards. There's going to be, I'm
there's gotta
assuming,
be turrets and
turrets.
stuff.
Yeah, turrets.
Yeah,
control launchers on the
turrets.
ground. You'll have to
AA
take out
devices.
with foot troops before you actually bring the ships down.
But as
I- I-
I've seen with other games like Elite that do the turrets on land base, they're tough, but they're not impossible to beat, especially with the right type of ships. You need something that's mobile, like a mobile SAM. You need something that's mobile. And crash, or I might be damaged enough where it's going to cost me a lot more money to repair it than it's worth trying to harass a bunch of soldiers on the ground trying to defend or trying to take a warehouse I'm defending or something.
Yeah.
Like that,
So you see, you remember from the last ATV where they had a guy with the railgun and he had to be in the position, kneeling down with it over his shoulder. That is an infantry weapon. So if they say the Titan can, or the mech armor even, can have infantry weapons, I can imagine a freaking mech with going akimbo with 2 railguns for arms, just running about the place taking down.
That doesn't even have
That
to
is
be
how
overpowered.
arms work, Myra. as
Yeah.
well. I love
Mech
the fact
arms.
that with your arms, you were pretending you had arms. That was.
I'm wondering,
Getting back to the whole, like Chris Roberts has always said, the TTK is going to be high. There's no one-shot kill. There's no, you know what I mean? You have to be able to reciprocate and know someone's shooting you and then deal with it. So the whole thing of that railgun, everyone's like, oh my god, everyone's like one-shot killing super hornets and shit. Well, you can't even do that with a saber.
No.
So why would you do that with a stupid shoulder-mounted something?
However,
Yeah.
if I'm in Korea and there's some guy going at my landing ship and I've got me and one other person as a railgun, 2 railgun shots should be able to take
Target
out.
of opportunity, yes,
exactly.
but not just
everything.
blowing
Yep.
shit up.
No, we can easily
or blow out an engine, or
remove the shield, and then the machine guns can shoot at the cockpit, because it's much easier to shoot at it from the smaller perspective than the larger.
I was always assuming that CIG were going to have radar scramblers and targeting scramblers that was going to make engaging Grim Hex and stuff, or on ground where you don't want ships to fight, really hard. So they can't see targets, so they have to literally scan for them with their eyes, and some of those cockpits are not good for that. So you literally have to look for stuff where loads of stuff shooting you, and you don't know where it's shooting you from, and you'd be like at Grim Hex, and you'd be like, well, there's stuff on the ground I can't see, I can't target this tower, I have to shoot it manually, and there's loads of stuff they could do to make it mechanically really fucking hard for you to engage as well. So there's a lot of stuff they can do, and hopefully they do it right. It needs to be possible. but
In
not too hard.
terms of possible, the earliest I could see it was 3.0. More than likely, we're going to see it after 3.0. They've got so many things on their plate with 3.0. There's no way we're seeing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
I
probably
can also
see.
see the Titan armor being like a Dragonfly too, where it's something you can't really use on a ship, or maybe on a flight deck on an Idris or something. But
Sandy-
it compacts, you get out of it and it turns into a box. And
Yeah.
you cargo
How
it.
big is Iron Man? How big is that suit, right?
Yeah, well,
That's pretty tight fitting. Yeah.
That's pretty tight.
Well, that's what I mean. But so it doesn't have to be big to
That's
be.
kind of what the
Iron
heavy
Man.
armor. That's kind of what.
But
the
if
heavy
Sean
armor
Tracy
right
is
now.
behind
that's the
it's
difference
going to be a
between-
mech.
Yeah.
It's going to be closer to a mech than a
Wouldn't
skin
you
suit.
like to see a couple
Yeah.
variations, right? Like
I would, yeah.
the Iron Man, where the guy can get out of the back of a whatever, not necessarily fly it, because that's obviously retarded. Like you can't have a guy in a suit flying a ship because it doesn't fit, right?
Yeah.
But he could get out, go to the back, hop up into the suit, and then be ready for war, kind of thing. And then the Titan, I'm thinking like, this is the problem: is what does that mean? Does it mean a mech, like from Mech Warrior? Obviously not like a Timberwolf, something like 85 tons, blowing up planets, but some of the smaller ones, cool, or even like Titanfall, like that. That to me, that's too big though. That
I've always kind of envisioned it as the aliens, Ripley.
That's what they've described it
loader,
as.
the
loader. The power
no
loader,
protection, maybe.
But the power loader, that was before planetary landings. I think we'll probably get somewhere. We may even have different sizes of Titans. We may have small Titans, medium Titans, and large Titans. And the large Titans may be the size of a freaking Mech Warrior. Sorry, board. Yeah, go ahead.
It's okay. Well, it's Sandy said that they would be doing the next Great Star Marine still, but after they had got 3.0 out and Squadron 42 Episode 1 out, but they didn't want to take time.
So long.
Wasn't that to design a Titan though?
Yeah, that was design a Titan.
That is to design a helmet and then design a Titan.
Oh, the helmet
for entry and the competition.
Did they do the helmet yet? I mean, have we seen that or no? We haven't.
They haven't even started accepting entries yet.
They don't want to take time away from the development and finishing off 3.0 and Squadron 42. But once that's done, they're going to revisit that and they're actually going to do that. I'm not sure if it's
more
going to be for
important.
Titan, but I assume it is.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also important to consider that when we got the next great starship, they'd already had, a year and a half, 2 years of trying to figure out how to build starships, and that was sort of established, so they were able to talk to their contestants and say, we build by ABC standards and we need you to follow this, go. And they don't have that yet for the Titans. That's what they're just now starting to try and figure out. So once they've figured out all these things, do we want multiple sizes? Do we want multiple variations? Do we want some for ships? Do we want some for ground? What do we want to do? How do we want to do it? Then they'll actually be able to have that competition, because without those answers, they can't really allow you to compete, because then everything is all over the place. There's no standard to work to, and we're going to end up with a Titan that's very much like the Redeemer, where it just sits in the hangar. It's fun to walk around, but it's so broken. It's so broken. It needs so much love. They just don't have the time to put into it now, and they don't like doing that. They don't like creating things and then having to go back and starting it again from scratch. So
I wonder if it'll be a design. We'll design the human Titan suit, and then the contest could be something like design the Vandul equivalent or the Banu equivalent, because it can't be only humans that end up having exoskeleton armor. If it is this bridging the gap between on-foot and ship gameplay mechanic, then there has to be a counterbalance from the alien races as well. At some point, maybe not right away, but that could be something they do with that contest. Who knows?
Iron Man confirmed in 3.0. That's what you're getting from here.
God, that would be so badass.
So,
quote me.
The one thing to take away from this, the one thing we do know is that in one of the last two ATVs, they talked about starting to do real look at Titan armor. Like that's one of the things they mentioned, was that Titan armor was mentioned in the latest ATV, either this one or the last one, about it being them to start to look at like the technical details behind it rather than just the concept. So, continuing on. Holy shit! All right, so I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly because we've got a lot of this. We're down to lightning rounds, so some of these will probably be. Yeah. Pathogen, do you think CIG will make use of Lumberyard's Twitch integration, and if so, how do you see it would be used? Yes, it will. Yes.
Reliant Mako next.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe Twitch, maybe being able to put a Twitch chat into the chat engine itself, or using like the latest the desktop stuff that they did, the desktop Twitch application.
Well, they could even integrate it into Spectrum now, because Spectrum is an API for the game, and
I think it'll be more than likely we'll see Spectrum. But yeah. Next one.
Exciting things are happening with Twitch integration in Spectrum.
There are. Cdizzle asks, "What? This is a question for chat. Whose hat is better, Meyer or Grits?" Okay, I'll let chat decide.
Whose what is better?
Hat is better, yours or Grits?
There can only be one right answer.
sorry, Mario. It's definitely you, Mario.
It
It's
is Meyer.
mine.
It is Meyer. I'm just gonna have to go
You
with
have
Meyer.
to-
He has
you
an
have to bear
emote for
that.
his hat.
Yeah, he has a hat emote.
Mic drop. Done.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
Prater Meyer asks Idris before Squadron 42, maybe 3.0. Yes, no, and and why? No.
Oh my god, he's so
No.
young.
I took it off.
No. Why? Because they want to save it for Squadron 42. It's also not going to be available in 3.0. I don't think
Not
mine's
coming
gonna
off. I tried.
be- Yeah.
Stuck on.
It's never coming up.
Sean
Smuggle tape holding
Tracy.
it on.
Sean Tracy asked, "Do you want me to make a mech game board? I would just fuck it up like No Man's Sky. So keep dreaming."
Yes.
Yeah. So sorry, Sean. I'm so sorry.
Hyoli XX or Hyol XX asks, Vanduul Rule 34 when Kappa already exists.
It's already there.
The fact that you mentioned it, it already exists. Someone's already been
Exactly.
drawing it right now. Smoking Gun asks, greetings, Captains. I was wondering what you guys think of, in which scale CIG might be offering ownable player bases in 3.0 or 4.0. Holy shit, this is so long. They were building a nice toolkit for the Outpost. I was wondering if you could buy those bases and cargo boats, etc. Not in 3.0, probably later down the lines. They even
Well,
said that.
and not with persistence, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, later. Much later. Commander W asks, what do you think research lab instruments from Rari, and what are the possible gameplay mechanics they could provide? Exploration.
Research.
Yeah.
Yep. Research is the gameplay mechanic. Yeah. Endeavor. Yep. Researching.
Science. They have an entire ship for that.
Yeah.
Like the Endeavor.
All right, so-
is
so-
designed for-
As a simplistic thing, look at Mass Effect Andromeda. The scanner for Mass Effect Andromeda, imagine it's basically that is a simplistic version of what we'll see with things like the chemical makeup of something. You'll want to, because you'll be able to sell that in the market, or you'll have a mission specifically to go, hey, we got this weird tree we know that exists on this one planet, but we have to get a sample, and we want you to analyze the sample for all these different things and come back to us. That's the kind of thing they're going to be used for. So, Mayonnaise 15 asks, how do you think they will handle flight control changes in the PU in Squadron 42 once it's released? An example, update both to match, make them different. I think they'll just update them both.
I think that what is changing, whatever we have, however it changes, will end up in both.
Yeah.
Because you can't have two different, like you can't get used to one and then have it not the same.
Yeah.
And it's
I
the
can
same thing with
appreciate that
Starbreeze.
question, though. Like in
Yeah.
terms of at least making one like the single player ships like stronger, so they don't die as fast as
No.
in the real game.
No.
Doesn't
And
that doesn't make sense.
Squadron is.
I
I mean,
don't
like,
think so.
I can appreciate somebody thinking that.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens in single player games and
All the
things
time,
like Call
yeah.
of Duty.
Absolutely.
Call of Duty is a perfect example.
Yeah,
I think that's
You're a
but,
bullet
that's-
sponge, and then you go play
yeah.
multiplayer and you die.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not
I think
really
that's why
the
they've been
style or the
focusing on
approach to this development. I
Mm.
mean, I said it, I think at least once before. CIG is really adamant about building something out and making it work, and then building on top of that and making
Yeah.
sure it all works. And just it's this upside down pyramid system, and they're not going to build something and then copy paste it over and tweak it so that they have two that are similar but very
Well,
different.
you
They're just
say
yeah.
that.
it's just going to be
I-
one branch, and everything feeds off of it.
I can imagine that it's not out of the realms of possibility. There may be some slight tweaks that need to be made to Squadron 42, which is slightly different from
Well,
a
dropping
damage
a
or a
patch.
flight.
Okay, so if you
Slight
think about
little
it,
differences.
there will definitely be differences between the ships that we're experiencing now on a Star Citizen standard versus the ships we experience in Squadron 42, because in Squadron 42 we are part of the military, we are a service member, and we are using military grade equipment. Everything is military grade, and we're not even flying F7C series, we're flying F7A series.
The F7A
So this-
has also been known to
Yeah.
have much bigger output, like bigger guns, as well as better shields and everything else like that. Like the military
That's
grade
a
equipment
very
is
good
insane.
thing.
And they
The
have-
balance
they
of
have
those is very
focused
good.
a
That's
lot.
very good point.
In the last year, they have focused quite a lot. The last few patches we've had has been on specifically arena commander flight models, and Squadron 42, like you were saying, Nighthawk is a military campaign. It is dogfighting. It's not like
Yeah.
we're going to be flying an Idris or flying a Hull C. We're going to be flying dogfighters.
Also
in
FPS.
Squadron.
We'll also
Yeah,
have
and
FPS
FPS,
aspects.
but,
So
yeah.
like
And
you're
that's why
gonna
we have arena commander or
not-
Star
Marine,
Marine.
But there's
Yeah.
nothing stopping them from making easy, like hard, like just
Yeah.
any other game.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't
could
think
be
they'll
up
do
to
it.
the player.
I don't think they'll do it. I
So
think-
So
I
that would
think
just
they'll-
adjust the AI. Probably.
Yeah, they may.
Right,
So-
or you could
Yeah, it-
change your armor rates, or like if you set it on hardcore,
Mhm.
then hardcore you have all the values from, let's say, what you would have in the persistent universe, let's say, and just don't salt me in chat. You know what I mean?
all the PJ Salt chat. All the PJ Salt.
Salt.
Yeah. But maybe I want to finish the game on normal and then go try it again on hard, right? And that would be.
Yep.
I don't see a negative of that at all.
No,
So-
but then again, I mean, pulling off something like that would not necessarily be we're going to have flight model A versus flight model B.
No.
It's just going to be
No.
the flight model, and that's what the item system is about. You know,
Yeah.
it's
The
what
basic
consumption is about. You turn up the item quality, you turn up the intelligence level on subsumption or whatever slider or switch or toggle, and yeah, all of a sudden you have a new harder difficulty. But it's not that we're creating two sets of flight models to try and
Yeah.
address the same single action.
No.
It's just
That
one
would
Yeah, I
item.
doubt
with-
that would happen.
It's a base
Yeah, I mean,
level.
like,
Yeah.
all I can think of, really, I mean, in terms of, let's imagine, for sake of argument, that they do, when they release Squadron 42, have difficulty sliders. And so, like, easy mode has less enemies, the enemies die faster. In terms of the ship, maybe the ship will have more armor or more shields. But I could also think of maybe, for instance, the G-force effect being tweaked to be less or something, to make it easier for
More
the
forgiving.
scrub.
Yeah,
exactly.
Forgiving first scrub. Yep.
Mm.
That makes sense.
And then a ribbon in your hangar that says you finished Squadron 42 on Uber mode.
Yep.
Gold star.
Gold star.
Put it on your
you
fridge.
get a trophy.
Something that doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that in the game, really. I mean, that's how they're doing achievements. It's just random items, yeah.
If you finish on easy, you get a participation trophy.
Well, I mean, if
wooden
you,
spoon.
Just
if
like
you-
the way I make love.
if
Well, I mean, they
With
did
the
say
wooden
there's a
spoon.
possibility that you could walk away with all kinds of ships, connections, material possessions from your
Badges.
Squadron 42 experience and
Yeah.
have that
Oh,
carry
yeah.
over into Star Citizen. So, if that's the case, maybe the only way for you to walk away with an F8 Lightning is if you did it on hard.
yeah, and
Mm.
and that's the other thing is that you also have to get citizenship. The citizenship
Yep.
you may be able to earn citizenship only on certain levels. So
Well, that's
Yeah.
a really good question as well. I mean, how is that citizenship determined? Is that determined based on your service record? Is that determined based on how you separate from the military when transitioning out of Squadron 42 into Star Citizen? Because is it honorable? Is it less than honorable? I mean,
Yeah,
did
you
you
could have
really
the
screw up
option
and try
to,
to kill your
be like,
captain? Like,
"Screw
I'm
you
sure
guys, I'm
I'm
outta
sure
here."
there's a point system. The reputation system will probably carry over into Squadron 42.
They
and that
said
I think that's the
want that to
main
happen.
one. It's
Yeah,
gonna be.
and that
Yeah.
that rep system will determine whether you get citizenship or not. I think that's what it'll be. I think
Well,
everyone
also,
gets.
it could affect prices on goods too, and UE space, and they could do that with if there are like an easy hard Uber mode. You could,
Yeah.
you finish on easy, you get a 10% cheaper discount.
You get
on
a gold
UE
star.
items. You do it on
Yeah.
hard, you get a
Wingman.
15%. You do it on
Check-
Uber, you get a 30%. Like,
Mm.
yeah,
Check this
Yeah.
out. On Uber mode, you have Wingman, and on easy mode, you have like you and 3 others.
Yeah.
that's true too. Yeah, they could do that.
You've completed the game on easy. You have an Aurora.
Yeah.
Well done.
Congratulations. You get to go try it again on hard.
You deserve that Aurora.
For the sake of like immersion, I'm wondering now, because I guess if you complete Squadron 42, then you will get citizenship or whatever. That's what they've mentioned, right? But if you can go straight into Star Citizen and play that. But in terms of how it works chronologically, you're like, actually, guys, I'm gonna get my citizenship. I'm gonna go back in time.
Go back.
And
Yeah, it's a little
Well, here's the
Yeah,
thing:
you
is
know,
that episode 1, 2, and 3 are all one story, and they've even said
Right.
that I think they're gonna have to relook at citizenship. But if you play Squadron 42 episode 1, you will get citizenship. Episode 2 and episode 3 are just going to be kind of, while you're playing in the universe, you can go back and like say it'll be like reminiscing when you're in the universe.
Yeah, I've
As to,
often
like-
wondered that. Are they going to try and make it sort of like this flashback story style event that occurs, you have all these possessions after you run your way through the story in Star Citizen because, oh yeah, that's why this stuff is here.
Yeah,
Or
So you don't have
is
it
it going
before
to be
until you
something more
flashback.
like
yeah.
the first episode could potentially be something flashback, and then we find ourselves as a citizen in the verse? And could it be that 2 and 3 are more like you're being called back into service?
Could be.
That's possible.
3 is going to be the Wing Commander movie script, 100%.
I hope so. That would be awesome.
What
You
is
have these gigantic lions killing you and everything.
Did I hear something
sorry.
recently that CR bought the rights back to Wing Commander?
He owns the rights to Wing Commander, the media franchise.
The media franchise. Okay.
He
I
owns
was
the
curious.
movies and that kind of stuff, but he doesn't own the actual game rights. It's still
Does
owned
that
by
mean he owns
EA.
the cartoon too?
I think so.
Yeah,
That's the
cool.
reason why Ben was able to go buy a bunch of the stuff from the.
I'm sorry for the tangent.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Do any of you know
that was
what
a good
the,
one.
Sorry, okay.
Let's continue to go forward. And what was your question, Meyer?
I was going to ask, do any of you know what the time difference is between Squadron 42 and the events of Star Citizen when you would start playing?
Squadron 42 takes place in 2142. So it
Okay.
takes place in.
Star Citizen
Yeah,
now.
yeah. It's like right now. It's in Star Citizen University. It's 2947, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
2147.
So that's when Squadron 42 is happening, or what?
No, Squadron 42
5
happens
years.
5 years
5
before
years
the
before
actual.
characters.
5 years
If it came
before.
out,
Okay.
if
It's
it
not a
came out,
huge
if it came out
disparity.
now, if it came out now, it'd be 5 years before. If it came out next year, it'd be
Right.
6 years before.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that question was just because, like, in terms of if there were sequels or whatever, and you're called back into service, depending on the time difference, those people who you've met will be older or dead. So
Yeah.
like
Just like in Wing
Yeah.
Commander. Like in Wing Commander, you had older paladins and older,
That's a really interesting way of seeing the world, Maya, but accurate. Everyone that you see again is either older or dead. That is
Well, I mean,
true.
Barbarian has
they've
kids.
talked about that. They've even talked
And
about the
older.
possibility of your character surviving to an older age and retiring into the verse, becoming some sort of persistent NPC, and you
That's
carry on as the heir. And who knows? Maybe it's the heir that gets called back into service, and that's going to be episode 3 because the
Right,
lifespan
yeah.
of that first character is coming to a close.
Yeah.
Killed by your own NPC.
Oh my god.
Alrighty, so
Very Star Wars.
I am your player.
next. The next question comes from Pathogen UK. CryAstro always thanks me for choosing them. Do you think we'll see other brands of repair station? Example with maybe price fluctuation. Oh yeah, they talked
The
about
truck
that.
stops from last
the truck
week.
stops. Yeah.
Yeah. Variety for sure.
Oh yeah.
Plus, that's not even considering all of the various organizations out there that are player-run. You're going to have so many player-run companies out there that self-identify. There are a lot of options.
That already exist.
Yeah.
Like repair. What is it? Repair Bears. I think is actually its own organization right now.
Repair Bears?
The Repair Bears. or like an organization of like
Or you need FedEx, call the Colonial Doers.
the fuel rats. The fuel rats are in the SC as well. Like
Oh, yeah?
they're refuel guys. They're from Elite too. Next question comes from Smansky. Question: Do we going to be able to cut through whole of ship and make our own entry? No.
New.
Possibly in specific locations.
In specific locations, like
Prepared
docking ports.
locations for the So
It was
no.
too complicated with the way
Simulated.
they design their ships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
They said that you may be able to blow out airlock doors and things like that, though. Just
That's
not
in a specific
random
location. Yep.
generated holes. Exactly. Yeah. Specific spots. Weak
All right.
spots.
This next question is specifically for Nuberfire and myself, because it says, I think I'm in the minority with my exuberance for Track IR, but have any of you tried 2.6.2, and are any of you, like me, surprised to how much it helps with FPS 2 after some getting used to? For example, you can have weapons sighted on target and still be able to...
Just like Arma. It's
to
exactly
look
like
around.
Arma.
Yeah.
I wish it was cheap to find and buy in the UK. Otherwise, I'd definitely be on board, man. Like,
Cheap. Sign up
Meyer,
for the contest.
Talk
$0.
to Mike. Yeah.
Okay.
so Mike.
Okay, so spoiler alert, there's a video series coming out, and specifically with TrackIR, you can look in, look out, and all this other stuff. Those are cool in flight sims. They're not cool in Star Citizen yet because your helmet is still
Stuck.
there.
Yeah.
Now, so there's an easy way to get around it. You turn off all the axis except for basically pitch and yaw, which keeps your tilt. Now, one thing I'm testing is in Star Marine, tilt is kind of neat because you can almost counteract the natural jerk of your guy.
Yeah.
I found myself doing it a little bit, but wow, being able to look around corners, you forget you're doing it. It starts to be something that you don't even know you're doing, and it's a total advantage. I'm sorry, all you console guys. PC gaming is not like that. PC gaming is whoever has the most money wins. So go get a better job. And watch for the video series on that, because it'll answer all your questions.
I will say, as someone who's never used it before, using it in
Oh, yeah.
262 for the very first time, there's definitely a learning curve to it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Buccaneers and asteroids don't get along.
No, they don't.
No.
So it's
Asteroids
really
win
good to have
every time.
because you can see where you're going.
Asteroid
Answer
is
anyone-
always going to be the VIP of any competitive match, as I've learned last week. Maya and I learned that last week pretty handily. Asteroid is VIP.
I have one
It
more
is.
question.
It
One more
is.
point with that. So a lot of people who don't know, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio, because some people are like, well, how are you looking behind? Because I won't be able to see the monitor. You can set the scale, the rate of change, right? You can move 5 degrees, and it'll move 30 degrees or 50 degrees. It's all up to you. So if you're going to use gimbals, use a very, very fine control for this area where you're moving 15 degrees to move 5, and then go escalate so that you can actually look behind you. Super Hornet can fire left just by looking and pulling the trigger. The ball turret will actually kill all kinds of stuff over there, and even behind if you use rear camera. So the great oh my god, that guy's got track IR, and oh my god, that guy's got gimbals is a real thing.
Yeah.
But it's skillful. You have to really know what you're doing. It's not easy. It's not, it's not super OP or anything like that. There's a lot of practice involved. So don't expect to buy it and just be magically Superman.
I used to go 18 waves in Vondel Swarm with my 50, and I barely made it through wave 3 in the Buccaneer with the track IR.
Yeah.
That's probably though because they changed the damage and everything. Because they changed all the hit points and everything. There's
Alrighty.
one way to check is you take it off and try it again.
The next
Yeah.
question comes from Hyoli. How is the Endeavor supposed to work? Very carefully.
How
Very
isn't it
efficiently.
supposed to work?
And slightly costly.
Yeah,
There's an
it's-
entire
says
document on that
everything.
ship.
there's an entire
Yeah.
document on the ship.
There's
I was just looking at it,
A lot of
and
data.
a lot of that is stuff that's going to be changed because
Modular.
exploration really isn't going to be done until 4.0. So so next year, like exploration.
It's going to be able to
in
do
depth.
a
I guess-
ton of different stuff.
The easiest way to explain how an endeavor is
I'll
going
be
to
right
work, you've got part A and part the rest.
Mhm.
You can leave part the rest behind, and part A can go off. And part the rest has almost no purpose to it except the main engines, unless you attach different rooms. And those different rooms are what give it its purpose.
Yeah.
So you can do all kinds of different scientific type things, everything from medical to research to
Colony.
creating entirely new technologies to colonial support agricultural stuff. Like,
And in the future, whatever they dream up for it, because it's modular.
Yeah.
So it
I-
could
I
turn
can
out to be
I can imagine it being
crazy.
I can imagine it being a colony ship, a cheap colony ship. So you have
Absolutely.
you'll have 400 families that'll hop aboard an Endeavor while they have to go colonize a new planet kind of thing. So,
Let's see what happens when they really start building out those biodomes, and whether or not you can put, say, like a small shack in there. Because if you have the hangar and 2 biodomes, there you go. There's the start of your colony.
All right, next question comes from Mike Alpha Tango Tango. Is smuggling tape easy to smuggle, or do I need to use smuggling tape to hide smuggling tape while I'm smuggling? Yo, dog. I heard
Right,
you
so
like
as
smuggling.
an aficionado of smuggling tape and sales representative for this sector, smuggling tape can actually be smuggled with smuggling tape. However, if you use an extra layer of smuggling tape onto your smuggling tape, it's not actually advised because you will cause a quantum singularity and you cannot tape over that.
next question.
Next question. Battle Bear Ba asks, would Star Citizen really qualify as an MMO currently with PU being 24 players but max per instance? No, they don't even call it an MMO. They call it a multiplayer game.
Nobody has called it an MMO yet.
No.
The goal is MMO.
I refer to it as an MMO in the sense that that's the planned goal, but right now it's a multiplayer game. That's all it is. It will eventually get to MMO status, but that'll take time, and we're going to see how that works. And it's not there yet. We'll see.
Yeah, Chris Roberts needs to go on a quest before it's an MMO. There's wizards. There's a ceremony. There's loads of stuff.
Smoking Gun asks, hey guys, 07, looking forward to 3.0 and beyond. What kind of travel mechanisms do you wish for? New cruise mode and autopilot? How long might we take with the current flight model with planetary approaches and orbits?
Wait and see. We don't know.
We don't know. And on top of that, we have no idea about orbits. They haven't mentioned anything about orbits.
We do know there is going to be some form of autopilot. We do know that there's going to be AI going to be able to fly as well. So you can have your pilot fly you places, which is going to be better than an autopilot. Your autopilot will be able to avoid getting hit by things. So you go, I don't want to crash into asteroids while I turn the autopilot on. I can do that for you, sir. It's going to be very basic, at least at first, and then we gamers kind of help develop it.
Dog select.
I'd love to see eventually a way to plot waypoints and just do
I was gonna say
a
that.
follow-up like that. Go for it.
Yes.
Yeah, went ahead, but
No,
yeah, I'd love
that's
that.
very true. I mean, because we're talking Chris Roberts. We're talking essentially the spiritual successor of Wing Commander, and that was one of the things I loved about Wing Commander was being able to pull up my nav computer, set up all. Not necessarily set up the nav points, but have the nav points right there. Reads, okay, I'm supposed to go here, here, and here, but
I can do whatever I
this
want.
just
Pick the order.
happened, so I'm going to go this way instead and double back because I think
Yep.
that might be better. And it'll be really nice to be able to establish those flight paths and also to try and figure out how to establish an orbit.
Well, they haven't talked about the beacon system in a while, because it would be nice to do that too. If you find like a point of interest or an asteroid field that you like, to be able to either mark it in your nav computer or drop a beacon, something that you can just always come back to,
Well,
right where that
the
spot
beacon
is.
has been there's been a slot, a command in the menu for a beacon since
For a while.
2.5.
Mhm.
Actually,
Yeah,
since
yeah.
2.4, there's been a beacon, like a button you push for beacon. So it's probably in testing. More than likely, though, it's they probably won't mess around with it until they get scanning working properly. Because
I'm sure it's like most other things, items 2.0.
Yep, that's probably has a big deal with it.
When you
Yeah.
you have to have that too. If we are going to have rotating, orbiting planets that's and everything else, you can't just be like, oh, pull up the map. I always went to the top right corner every time, because it's not always going to be in the top right corner. It's gonna be moving. So, you got to have something. Yeah.
And also, I'm going to go back to that MMO question real quickly as well, because one of the things that the definition of MMO is also very loose. Some people would consider any game that has 100 or more players in it an MMO. So, the definition of an MMO really depending on where you look. So that's another thing. But I don't think. But even CIG doesn't call it an MMO right now. So I was thinking about it because there's people who call like Hellion an MMO when it's a 100-person server. So
Well, Helion's not an MMO,
But it's not.
neither Star Citizen at the moment.
Yeah.
no.
Survival
So,
game.
but yeah, but that's the point. Is that like the definition of an MMO is very weird. But not even CIG calls it.
It's
an MMO
gotten
at this
very
point.
gray.
It's
in
quite
recent
nebulous.
years.
Yeah, because MMO means massively multiplayer online. How big is massive? You know, how many tons
Conan?
of people?
Conan's not.
Well,
Conan's local instance. You know.
I would refer to an MMO with something with official limited servers. Like, there's only a limited amount of servers, and everyone has to join them.
Yeah.
Not that you
Right.
can have private servers for. Now, actually, Star Citizen probably will have private servers in the far, far, far future, but more for mods.
Yeah.
But, it's still going to be MMO.
Anyways, that's a whole gaming discussion right there because that's when you start
right.
to get into that kind of stuff. The next question comes from Mammon. I'm a dirty mouse pilot, so the size 1 wingtips on the Buck are useless to me. Do you think there will be extra stuff we'll be able to put on the weapon hardpoint, like fuel pods, extra batteries, shield boosters, missile racks, etc.? Maybe, or maybe you could just get good, son.
Maybe you should buy a ship that actually is built to do it. It's job.
He's got a good point. You should get good scrub.
No, and it's the same problem with the Vanguard. The Vanguard, awesome in concept, and then people with mouse is like, oh well, I can't use this. There's nothing stopping you from flying fixed with a mouse.
Yep.
Did I say that?
You did. That's why I fly. That's how I fly.
Okay,
So
so it's not like gimbals are good, but man, is there ever an advantage to going up a size? So if you can figure out how to do that, that fixes the problem of the size 1 wingtip things.
If I had an option to get rid of a gimbal, I'll more often than not take it.
Right.
I mean,
Use it.
currently in the current meta, I mean, like as we saw on Saturday, Astro, I mean, Malagos, who does not miss a single shot with his gimbals against another Super Hornet with size higher. If it's just him versus another ship and they're shooting each other, he dies.
loses. He loses.
Yeah.
Every time. and he struggles too with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Too. So, and as a lot of the experts we saw were saying, like at higher levels of competitive play, mouse really loses its advantage. That weapon size increase is more important, and there are plenty of people who are playing mouse fixed. You know,
I still think
for the advantage.
Mouse and throttle is the way to go for me. Like
Double mouse.
and guess what? PC gaming, bitch. You can do it whatever you want. In fact, you can even use a fucking
Xbox controller.
a Switch controller for playing Star Citizen. You can use a Switch because it's a Bluetooth. So you
does
can
anyone
actually
know any competitive gamepad users for Star
No.
Citizen?
Well, I do know people. I do know people who use gamepads who are in the top 100.
Double keyboard.
Double keyboard.
Double keyboard.
I want to be able to play on my old
Well
NES
done, sir.
controller.
Congratulations, that's funny.
Hey, there is someone who managed to play Overwatch with a fucking microwave. Okay, if they could do that, and guitar, you know.
Nice.
What about the guy who completed? Was it Bloodborne or Dark Souls?
Dark
with,
Souls,
with Donkey Konga drums.
Donkey Konga drums. Yeah. It can
Here's
be
your
possible.
question.
Trackballs for my feet.
This is on topic actually. So there was a post on the Citizen Hub about a guy who had his whole like rig set up, and it was like called out for awesome stuff pick. My question is, that person didn't have a mouse. They had a controller. Do you guys think that you can actually play Star Citizen, Star Marine, for example, with a controller and actually be competitive against a guy who has keyboard and mouse?
Yes. However,
Really?
It's skill. It's,
here,
you know,
have,
some people
have,
are just-
have, yeah. The key is about how you use your peripherals properly. If you're comfortable with it, you can be competitive. Now, at higher levels, when we're talking about competitive, like MLG, ESL kind of levels of
It
gameplay,
was a
no.
rhetorical question because,
But I,
sorry, the answer is
no,
because-
I've seen people who do I've seen people who do very, very well with Star Marine with controller. The issue is more, and the problem is the top 1% of the entire gameplay community, which is no one is going to, reasonably one in, I guess, what is it, 1.5 million chance that you're going to be in the top 1% kind of thing. More people.
1 in 100. 1 in 100
360 no
chance you'll
scope
be in the
with a
top
controller.
1%.
Good luck.
Math. Screw you.
Actually, no, Paul, it's 50-50. It's 50%. You're either in the top 100 or you're not.
I'd like to. See,
There's 50-50.
But
No, that's not
it affects a total of like 300 people total, maybe max.
I can
and that kind of
see
stuff.
walking around ArcCorp with a controller. I
Yeah.
can see that being like fun and casual. But for me, if I'm being boarded, like my Idris is being boarded and I'm expected to shoot stuff, yeah, see, Meyer, you're going to get killed.
no. I use that for walking around ArcCorp because
Okay, exactly.
You can walk
But when you're
fluidly
playing
and granularly,
Star
yeah.
Marine, you're not touching that thing.
Oh
right?
no.
Well, the
I have no
one
idea what it
bonus
does.
of controller when you're walking around first person is the variable speed of walk with the joystick, with the thumbstick.
Oh no,
but,
it's immersion.
But we
is
just saw
lovely.
that they're also doing the variable states for keyboard that they just showed in ATV for idle to
but there's also an analog keyboard which could really change things
I
up.
much prefer. I'm a
Dusty as hell.
player I have been for my entire life. I much prefer keyboard and mouse, but I have played. Got sucked into Halo way back in the day on Xbox, and I've tried to go back and play that, and I can't do it anymore because I played it so much back then. I was really good with a controller. And
your
now
muscle memory.
I can't do it. Yeah, it's definitely a skill-based thing. Like if you get really used to it, you can play almost as well as a keyboard and mouse.
No,
Yeah,
you can't. Your mouth is full of lies. Go back to your double microphone.
Sorry, chat.
Controller.
Next question.
Let's
But
move on.
Keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Next question.
I'd like to.
All right, so
I'd like to see somebody. Okay.
I'm just gonna shut down Meyer. I'm gonna shut down Meyer right now. I'm gonna shut down Mammon right now because Mammon has another stupid question, which is there are 6 of you. Could you 3 form couples? What would you pair up with whom? Tap of pride. No. Fuck you. Well,
Everyone's with me, yeah?
yeah.
Next.
He's the sexiest of us all. We would all just be there. That's kind of works.
I
Meyer,
just
what were you
wanna
gonna say?
rub Bill on.
I just type in instead. I'd like to see 4 people pilot 1 Super Hornet with dance mats.
Yes.
That'd be
Oh hell yes!
Yes.
Teamwork confirmed.
Yeah.
Not-
Can you imagine that happening? Board's like,
No.
how would it work? How many people would you really need? I mean, like, you'd have one guy would be one throttle, the other guy would be one joystick, and then you'd have somebody else to be the guns, like dancing
Yeah.
to shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then who would be power management?
I can't wait to see someone try
that's
to
the fourth
multi-box a
answer.
fleet.
Fourth answer.
Multi-boxing, first person, Star Citizen. Good luck with that.
So the next question comes from the Knight Rider. If RSI Store had a UEE main battle great grav tank, would cast members buy it?
What?
Come again?
If you could buy a main battle tank for Star Citizen,
Fuck
would you
yes.
buy it?
No,
I mean,
no,
Like
he
the Lance tank.
He said,
Yeah.
I think he said, didn't he say
Grav
grav
tank.
tank first?
Grav tank. Yeah, but
But
it's
I
like
don't like grav.
It has the
gravity
word
stuff.
tank in it. Of course I would buy it.
yeah,
Tracked. I want a tracked tank if I'm gonna have a tank.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I would buy more ground vehicles because we need more fucking ground vehicles. I'm waiting for the APC version of the Ursa.
Yeah.
You know,
Just shut up and take my money package.
yeah.
Give me a
If we're
tank.
talking ground vehicles, I think I would still
Give me a
go
tank.
Titan.
Titan.
Oh yeah,
mechanized
Titan armor is fun
over
too.
A tank, but that's
What
just
I have a
Jet
question
packs.
for you guys. I have a
I don't
question
remember.
for you
Have
guys.
they mentioned anything about jetpacks at all?
Kinda.
I mean,
Jetpacks.
technically you have
your
jetpacks.
EVA
Booster,
technically
you
is a
have 'em.
jetpack, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's,
But I mean, for
Let's-
on like planet side, kind of
let's
like
make everything
hopping
like
over
No
shit.
Man's Sky,
No.
shall we?
Let's suck.
I hope they
Let's
don't.
go.
I was just curious. I couldn't think of whether. or not
Let's
they
take out
mentioned it.
multiplayer and let's still so it's still there, shall we? Let's do that.
I mean, maybe you could get like a heavy EVA jetpack or something like that, and then that could like propel you upwards or something in gravity or
Or a
something. I mean,
Titan
like,
suit.
Titan suit,
or a
yeah.
Titan
Titan
suit, yeah.
Titan suit probably would have something.
My question would be like, with all these like suits of armor and stuff like that becoming more and more real and stuff like that, do you guys expect CIG to try and sell them the same way that they do ships at the moment? Like this limited edition Origin Jumpworks space
God, I
suit.
hope
or-
not.
Out of first person shooter equipment.
I would,
I-
I would too, but I think that it'll be a small package. I don't think they would do it more than that because they've been super resistant to that.
as
Like
long
cosmetic only or what?
I think it would be a rec store kind of thing.
Yeah,
Mm.
I
as
think
long as they keep selling ships, I think that the mechs would be sold the same way that ground vehicles are being sold
yeah.
now.
But I mean, like things like,
Yeah.
would you buy a medium marine suit or specific like that, like a starter package that's that doesn't have a ship in it, but just
I won't have
has-
to earn that in game.
I have
don't
friends who
want
keep
to be
asking
able
for
to-
that.
Yeah,
They haven't
don't
bought
want-
into the game yet because they don't want a package that has a ship. They just want the
I
foot package.
they
don't
they
have the willpower to
the-
not buy shiny things.
The response that CIG has given me specifically when I've talked to them about this is sell your ship, buy armor.
Yeah, that's what they tell me too.
Yep.
Yeah, just sell your ship.
You get the money and buy what you need with that. Because the thing is that
That's
a
not
ship,
a bad idea. Yeah.
because a ship
There's
is
nothing
like,
stopping you.
and ship is so much more expensive. Like even if you convert it to the current UEC, like even the cheapest like ship that can like quantum and jump, which is the ES, I think, at
$25, yeah.
$25. That's 200, or it's 250,000 UEC.
Thousand.
Yeah, 250,000 UEC.
So you're basically
That's-
saying that everyone should go buy an Aurora ES for game launch just so you can sell it.
That's
Is that what you're
24
saying? Like,
That could all change too.
that would all
Pricing.
change too. Yeah.
25,000. Not 250,000.
Is
That's
it 25,000? 25,000.
whatever $1,000 it is, you're basically saying everyone should go stack up their Aurora shitty packages, like 6 of them in their account,
No.
so they've got some extra money.
Don't spend money. Don't spend money on starters.
Well-
Buy a starter package. Enjoy the
Yeah,
game
yeah.
as it's meant to be.
No,
enjoyed.
My
I
point-
fully support that, but I'm just asking hypothetically, is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is I'm saying that when you buy a starter package, by selling your ship outright, if you don't want to buy the ship, you can get
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff. With that amount of money could probably buy you a good
Yeah, so-
weapon and
so why not buy
Depending
6
on
of
how
them?
you want to start the game.
because that's not how it's not how Nubified, that's not how an economy works. If you sell 6 Auroras at once, someone's going to be like, I'm not going to buy 6 Auroras from you because you were trying to sell me something.
Want to be
You know what I
frugal?
mean, though.
Buy 6 Auroras.
You know what I mean? Like,
It won't work like that because
Auroras
the economy doesn't
a
work
green
like
day
that.
fund, you know, like buying a bond or a brick of gold for your hangar. It's like, oh, I have no money. This sucks. I'm going to go sell another Aurora that I had bought for $20. Sorry,
It's your money. Do
I'm
what
gonna
you
buy
want.
an interest just so I can start an army when the
I
game
want to be
ends.
your
I'm gonna
money.
sell my interest.
Get Dog Slider. All right, next question comes from Bedunga. Saw a question on Reddit. Oh god, that's always a good one you want to start with. Saw a question on
Triggered.
Reddit.
I'm
Want
so
to see your
triggered.
guys' thoughts. What type of gameplay will the final product deliver? Will it be more free roam, much like GTA title, or much more story driven like Skyrim? Right now, I can't tell the game.
It's a little of both. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Squadron
Really, it's a bit
42,
of
more
both.
story driven.
It's a
Star
sandbox.
Citizen,
It's a
sandbox.
living, breathing universe.
Let's
Yeah.
look at
Sandbox,
other.
you can-
Let's look at other sandboxes. You can in Skyrim. Do you have to follow any of the missions or any of the quest lines?
No.
No.
And in Conan, you don't have
Same
to do
with
anything
GTA.
either. You could just sit there and get killed by a spider.
In GTA, do you have to follow any of the missions, any of the storylines? No. Do they both have epic storylines? Yes,
Yeah.
they both have storylines you can follow. You can tell them to
And
go fuck off and
side
do whatever you want.
storylines. and- Yeah.
So
Now,
okay.
go ahead,
Um,
Mark.
what I think is that Star Citizen. I mean, because there are many different kinds of sandbox. For instance, Elite Dangerous. You get in and what the hell am I? Who am I doing? What am I? Who am I doing? What am I doing?
am I doing?
You know,
Whoa, whoa,
you know,
What am I doing?
Why am I spending 20
And
minutes
Space
flying across?
gigolo.
you're left to your own devices, that kind of thing. With GTA Online, for instance, there's a little quest, like there's a quest chain, that kind of thing. But it's also is it sandbox? Yeah, I don't really think GTA Online is a sandbox, but you brought that up as an example.
It's
But, like,
He did in the
sandbox.
question.
Mm.
The question. Is,
Yeah, but I would think Snoopify. Thanks for that in chat.
No problem.
Well,
I would
it's a
think
sandbox
that
with instant events.
Exactly, so-
events. Yeah.
I would think that within each like sector in Star Citizen there would be like an overarching quest or something like that, like in Grand Theft Auto, and it's a heist or something. But then within that would also be the pure player oriented sandbox kind of like thing. I think that they want to merge those two things together because they've talked about the whole dynamic quest lines and stuff like that. As opposed to something where you're just kind of there and that's it. You do it. You have no what you're doing. Like Albion Online, for instance. Like you're standing there. You have no idea what you're doing. Good luck. Like I think it's gonna be more story.
Well,
They've
go to the
talked about it,
TDD.
too.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you don't know what you want to do, go to the TDD and see what's on the
Yeah.
board and see what's appealing to you.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
talk to your friends and find out what they want to do, right? Like it's
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's I think the whole point of the game is that there's nothing stopping you from doing nothing.
Mhm.
Well, and
want.
we saw it already too.
Balance.
There's the subsumption based, the economy based procedural mission generating tech, which basically just creates the meat of stuff to do, which is
Yeah.
very much like, oh, we need X amount of resources, go get it, or we need this ship needs to be protected, go escort it. And then they've talked about it, and we saw it at CitizenCon, Gamescom, the Miles Eckhart thing. There will be different storyline, handcrafted missions.
which aren't even really
It could
handcrafted.
span different. It could span hours and days. It could span
Those-
multiple systems.
Those systems themselves are also kind of procedural generated because it depends on
Yeah.
your reputation. It depends on random
exactly.
generation because there'll be different types of missions that Miles will be able to give to you. There may be what you got from Miles, someone else may get a completely different one, but it's from a very
Yep.
specific source rather than just a random TDD.
And those will also affect the subsumption created ones too. Because if you're doing something for Miles that involves, taking down a transport ship that's hauling a bunch of titanium that a station needs, and you take out that ship, then the general subsumption mission system will say, "Oh crap, we're out of titanium.
Yeah.
Let's create a job, or somebody go protect this ship."
Now, at the same
It all
time,
semi-
so the game will have a story-driven element that you can try. There is nothing that's saying you have to do those story-driven missions. You can kind of go off and become a trader or a miner or a mercenary all you want. But the mission system, or pirate,
Yeah.
but the mission system is built in so it helps you get you money when you're low. So like how Elite Dangerous kind of does it, in the sense that, do you want to go out on your own and do stuff? You want to go bounty hunting in a conflict zone or whatever? You can do it. Or in a resource extraction zone, you want to go to a conflict zone and be a mercenary? You can do those things. They're available for you. But you can also go get a mission to do that as well, and go hunt down a specific person or go down to this, So there are missions. The mission system is being designed as a way for you to always be able to get money, but especially for new players who don't know what they're doing. But as an experienced player, you can go out and do whatever you want. There's nothing that's stopping you. It's a
So the
sandbox.
thing with Star Citizen is that it's as an open MMO sandbox style game, what they're trying to build as an end goal, it's not so much that they're trying to build out stories for you to follow, to have these experiences. It's more like they're trying to build out a fully fleshed out AI support system, so that if and when you're in a location or around a certain person, or as a particular event occurs and it affects either that person or that area, then it's also going to directly affect you. So it's not like Elite Dangerous, where you're going to go out and you're going to pick up a bounty hunting mission, you go down to a location, you chase the person down, you collect them up, and you take them back. It's never going to be that simple in Star Citizen, because for all you know, you're going to leave the station or the TDD location or whatever it is where you got that bounty mission, and you're going to jump out to the first nav point, and maybe the cargo convoy that you're trying to interdict is not actually going to be there, because you didn't bother to check the stocks this morning and realize that whatever shipment of goods that they were trying to do are actually really low in the economy right now. They didn't have the stock to take, so the transport didn't happen. So now all of a sudden you're at this location, there's nothing there, and you have to travel to a totally different location to try and get new information. And in trying to get that new information, you're interacting with new NPCs who are going to send you off on different activities to try and feed them, so that you can then get the information to go back to the You're creating your own stories. The whole point of Star Citizen is that you're creating not only your own history, but the history of the universe as a whole. And so these dynamic interactions are going to create your story for you, which then becomes the story of Star Citizen.
And that's
kind of reversed.
That's the basis of Star Citizen concept, and that's what they're building the game off of. This basic idea that you are telling your own story. You are experiencing your own stuff. It's based on the concept that emergent gameplay combined with NPC aid is how games going forward sandbox games should be made. So it's very much like the closest example that I've seen it is Star Wars Galaxies.
Mm-hmm.
That's, if you've seen Star Wars Galaxies, that's the closest that game that I've ever seen that gets to Star Citizen, other than Elite Dangerous. So okay, hold on. Next question goes to from Henrik Lager. What about Peable? P-A-B-L-E.
Peable?
What about
Like
Peable?
Ebola?
I don't know. Their play Star Marine in 10 years or more. Oh, I think he's asking about if people will be playing Star Marine in 10 years or more. Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
I don't see why not.
It's training, fun,
Yeah.
They're going to add more maps.
Instant action.
Yeah.
I mean, look at SC4. It's an esport.
Yeah.
And they've talked about other modes they want to introduce. Like they've mentioned about having a different mode.
They don't have Capture the Idris in yet.
And Star
I fully expect them.
and-
I fully expect Star Marine to get a battlefield like mode where you have some vehicles, air vehicles, space vehicles, ground vehicles,
Or it's a slice of space on a planet.
Yeah.
Where it's ground-based warfare. And,
like the fabled space to ground combat of Battlefront. That people want to do, where you could get out of a ship and then go down and fight in the major battle. I fully expect that kind of stuff to eventually happen at some point, if it makes sense for the game.
Yep.
So,
Well, and also one of the reasons we have those arenas, one, it's because it's a skill-based game, and that's how you can learn how to play the game without risking everything in the MMO. But also, two, for people that don't, you have a family, kids, full-time job, and you've got half an hour to hop in on a weekday night to play, and that's really not enough time to go fly off and do some mining or whatever it is you do in the MMO. You hop into Arena Commander or Star Marine.
Yeah,
Although
moreover,
they say that they're going to try and craft this in a way so that even if all you have is 30 minutes, you can get a good amount of gameplay out of it. You can't even pull off an entire mission if it's the right kind of mission.
Yeah, I think it was
Exactly.
half an hour.
But it gives you more options. So,
moreover, like Star Marine is a test bed for all FPS mechanics. So like when we go gold or whatever, that's not going to be the be all and end all of Star Citizen. I mean, like right now it's very bare, but as they add more mechanics, you'll see that. I'm sure you'll see them in Star Marine before they get pushed out into Crusader or like the P at large 3.0. And like let's say 5 years, 10 years down the line, if the game is still running 10 years, down the line, it would still be an important thing because it's a concentrated place for people to test things. So you would especially just things like PTUs won't disappear once we go to gold. Like if they want to add something else, people will be going and doing Star Marine to test out those new weapons and stuff to see if they're balanced that way. So it'll always have significance, in my opinion.
It's also going to be a lot more tactical. Right now we have a very early implementation. When we have oxygen, stamina, gadgets, customized things, we have medics, we have everything else. It's going to be much more tactical, and that'll be a way for larger organization groups that do have like security groups on their bigger ships and stuff. They can go into Star Marine and practice doing their working as a squad and working on tactics without risking their life in the MMO. So it'll always have a purpose.
Yeah. And on top of all of this, if they do it right, like the people who are making Star Marine and Arena Commander are not just random people who just showed up one day. Like Sean Noonan is the guy behind the level design for Star Marine. He did the level design for Far Cry Primal and Far Cry 4. This is not someone who just showed up out of the blue and just said, "I'm going to make an FPS map." He's been making them for like several years.
That's how he
Let's make the
talks.
pew pews.
Huh?
When no one's looking.
Yeah. So there's definitely some like serious thought and effort and some skill based in the people who are making these things. So I don't expect it to be tossed away once Star Citizen's released. I expect them to be refined upon. In fact, I expect by the time Star Citizen gets into beta, there'll be a lot of attention turned towards Arena Commander and Star Marine to make them fully fledged games in their own right, to make them really work well. And the real thought process behind them. Because at that point, once all the material's in, it's just a matter of pumping out content for Star Citizen. Then it's much easier for them to go back and say, let's make these games fucking good, because there's a lot of potential in them.
It could also be, going back to way earlier in the show board, when we were talking about missing demos and stuff, I could see that being a good marketing ploy, too.
Yep.
If you
Free to play
somebody,
games. Yeah.
you can play Star Marine for 48-hour trial or
Or,
something.
I mean, Star
If you
Marine,
really like it, buy Star Citizen.
Star Marine and Arena Commander are already free to play games in the universe. Look at what's Wreck.
Exactly.
You could easily just make it if you could separate it and create its own thing in a launcher. You could easily say, "Hey, play these free to play flight and FPS games, and you can rent these ships, or you can buy the game Star Citizen and earn more stuff to play with it." And it's the first taste is always free kind of thing, and then now you got to pay sort of situation. There's lots of possibilities that you can use it. There are designed as test beds, but eventually they could easily turn into full-fledged games in their own right if they give enough time. So.
Yep.
So, all right, and also, guys, stop talking about whatever you guys are talking about in chat. That's like super like angry and stuff like this. Deuce, everyone they're arguing over AUEC versus UEC. You can purchase
whether you can
UEC.
buy it or
Oh
not.
God.
You can buy UEC now.
There's no
Can I
persistence
buy-
By
by
AUEC.
AUEC
Can
is
I
a
buy
myth. It doesn't exist.
UEC with Alpha UEC? Can I do that? Can I transfer my Alpha UEC over? Because I mean, I've learned a lot of it, and I should be able to.
Did you see that one guy on Reddit who posted he's reached 1 million Alpha UEC?
Are you kidding me?
And
Source
it's
reached 1
gone.
million.
Source did multiple times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
they
yeah.
get 3
I've
sets.
gotten damn close to it. Ferrosalt's gotten 1 million UEC at least twice. Like it's if you play a lot, it's not hard.
Never mind then.
Yeah.
Never mind then. It was big to me.
Yes,
It's okay. It's good. But I mean, that's the key. The one thing about what I've learned a lot with the since 2.4, since AUC's been earnable, is that in terms of me playing in time zones, and I think this could be for all of you guys who played it. If you look at the current cost value of ships versus their and equipment versus the in wreck versus how much AUEC and how long it takes you to make it, it's gonna take some time to build ships up to good, valuable ships. Like probably several weeks. Like to buy, like I played on average of 20 hours a day, 20 hours a week for a week, or for like a month. I could
20 hours a week for 1 week.
1 week,
I played 20 hours.
20 hours.
Time travel confirmed.
20 hours a week for a month. I could probably buy a freelancer, maybe, if I just saved up and did nothing but buy a freelancer. That's not including buying for insurance or any of that other kind of stuff. So it's definitely not like in the current way it stands, it's not going to be easy to buy all these big things. right off the bat. So there's going to be a lot of effort in terms of making money. Anyways,
And when you do, I expect that they'd probably go the route of really dangerous, where like even though you can afford those ships, and NED ships themselves are quite affordable, it's really super expensive to actually upgrade them and customize them. Because I think that's where a lot of, I suppose, end game will be in getting your ship and then kitting it out the way you want it to be. Because I don't think, I mean, how official is it? Like, okay, so you have ship insurance, but that doesn't, include contents or whatever. They've mentioned that it'll just give you the ship as it was, bare bones, without any like additional things, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to be.
It makes sense too with so many people starting with so many ships because of ship shells that you can't just jump in and be just because I have an Idris
and all starting loadouts suck. Yeah. All starting loadouts suck.
But how many people how many orgs have you been like you talk to people and they have like, I bought a completionist pack so that my org can just use it. So is there really a reason? Like, do you really think that that's going to be a thing, that if you're in an org, you can't just borrow a ship from someone, that they don't care because it's got LTI if you crash it into the sun? So, I mean, yes, if you want the ship yourself, then there's a grind and there's a reason. But some instances of orgs, you're going to be like, well, I would need an Orion. And 3 people like, here's the keys to my car. Just bring it back with some paint, fresh, wax it or something.
Got to put down a deposit.
Not even, because it's LTI. They don't care.
But if it doesn't cover the upgrades or anything,
they need a reason for
it.
Yeah,
I think one of the ways around that as a breakable mechanic is just the length of time that it takes to replace your ship if it gets stolen or lost. So you make it a long time. Make it at least 4 days.
Yeah.
People ain't going to be trading them. You're not going to be lending your ship to random people. It takes you like at least 4 days to get it back.
Well, yeah, and on top of all of this stuff, and the next question is actually about PvP. But on top of all this stuff, people are saying, I'll be playing 12 to 14 hours a week. But the average gameplay that they're shooting for is about 20 hours a week. Someone who plays about 20 hours a week is probably that's 4 hours a day. By the way, for 7 days.
I know people that are going to play 20 hours a day.
I know, but I mean, the answer is that not everyone's going to be playing 20 hours a day.
No.
So first 3 months of Star Citizen is probably going to be close to 16 hours a day for me.
And then everyone's going to get divorced,
and
then it'll
60
go
hours
up to 24 hours a day.
I'm slowly collecting a closet full of medical supplies.
Board Gamer is changing time and space to be able to play 60 hours a day.
I know people that are going to retire just so they have enough time to play the game.
It is possible. You haven't seen Board Gamer play Conan Exiles. That guy is a beast.
Yeah,
that is true.
So I will be in the top 1% for grinding.
Yeah.
It's getting late. I gotta go to sleep. 5 hours later. Sun's up.
At
I'm done with this wall.
At the end of the first week, I'm gonna expect to see fleets of Board Gamer UK's mining organization, mining
all with
vessels.
my egg face on.
Yeah, with your egg face on it, all over the place. I'm like, wow,
that's
holy
why you have
shit.
wireless controllers, right? Because the Board Gamer can go in bed and
on my gamepad, on my double throttles.
Can we go back to hacking? Do you guys remember Dennis Nedry's hack in Jurassic Park, where it's him doing that? You didn't say the magic word. I hope they integrate enough that Board can do that when he hacks somebody's ship, that it's the egg emote.
All right, so but
shows
thoughts
up on all the MFDs.
This is the last question, and then we'll move on. We're officially on a 3-hour fucking captain's table.
Marathon.
Goddamn. So
This
thoughts
is long.
on how PvP will work / will be implemented in the 3.x PTU.
Oh, yeah, we shoot someone, and if you kill them, that's PvP.
They die. No
It's-
slider.
It works. It's going to work exactly as it works in 2.0. And I think the only addition is that we're going to probably be able to shoot people in Port Olisar or in those stations as well, because they'll be NPCs.
And then you're going to get wrecked.
And then security will come and grab you.
Yeah.
I think people
can't wait
forget
for that
that
mechanic, to be
when
honest.
it comes to PvP, there is going to be a 10-to-1 ratio of NPCs to players. So it's not like it's just going to be everybody you see, oh my god, it's PvP, I'm going to die. It's going to be a fairly rare occurrence that you really got to go up against.
There's also massive amount of space in 3.0. Don't underestimate the size of a freaking solar system.
Yeah.
And-
This captain's table has gone on for so long, it's breached daylight saving times in the UK. It's now 2 a.m.
All right.
The clock's just
Well,
nice.
on that note, we're gonna end this end the stream to make sure everyone can get some sleep.
4 hours, technically.
4 hours for
$10
UK.
card.
Epic Captain's Table.
Anyways, thank you guys all so much for hanging out with us. Everyone here, thank you so you should follow all of them. Here we go, the pod follow command. Follow all of them. Subscribe to them. Give them lap dances and toss money at them and make it rain. I don't care.
Mrs.
Just
Ubifire might not appreciate that.
before we go, I do have to pull the winner. If you
Yeah.
do win, I want you to say bored egg. Bored egg is the key word because bored egg has been the topic of discussion for 3 hours. That's totally true. Good luck to everyone who entered, and the winner is C Dizzle. Fuck you.
Rigged.
Again?
Mr. A Y Y Y Y Y Y Y Y Y Y Y Y Y Y. So just
Can grizzle, I like that.
can grizzle my Dizzle.
Well,
So I'll wait for C Dizzle to actually show up. I'll let him. I'll message him on because he's actually a subscriber, so he gets it.
he wins more giveaways than I do.
That's because he does nothing but watch Star Citizen streamers
Yeah.
all the time.
And stream.
And he's a generally good dude.
It's a machine.
Anyways, thank you guys all so much for hanging out with us. Like I say every night, hope to see you guys again soon. But if we don't, hope to see you someday in the black. Have a good night, guys.